Likewise, I'm sure our visitors from Southend United would like to reflect on the passing of those associated with their football club during 2025. Can I please ask, on the referee's whistle, we observe a moment of silence to remember our departed friends.
Always a powerful moment. What is a list on the screen that is always too long, whichever club you're at, north, south, east or west of the country. The feeling is always the same, but we are ready to get this game started. Let me introduce my pundit, former Blues midfielder Glenn Pennyfather. Glenn, I mentioned that phrase, an unstoppable force against an immovable object. But the trend for Southend is clear. They haven't beaten a side in the current top six yet. As Leon Parallon gets ready to get us kicked off, what do they need to do to change that today?
Yeah, I think they need to settle really early. They need to settle into the game and get a foothold in the game. That's the important thing. You know, they don't want to give any early incentive to York City. They want to make sure that they keep possession of the ball, retain the ball. You know, don't give it away cheap. You give away cheap free kicks and corners where they're going to put themselves under pressure. It's important, but what an occasion, Warren, what an occasion. These are people always ask me, do you miss playing? Perhaps on days like today, absolutely. What an atmosphere. And they should be relishing this challenge, Southend United players.
We've been told there have been about 7,000 fans in attendance at the LNER Community Stadium today with the floodlights on, this beacon of light across the darkness of Yorkshire. We all have a game underway that is set to have big significance for both of these sides this season. Southend United in their all black kit, playing from right to left, the goalkeeper in all green. Two changes from the FA Trophy game, with Sam Austin and Jack Bridge dropping to the bench and Harry Boyes and Ollie Coker coming in. Has been a corner one for Southend. Degandy in goal, Taylor, Gubbins and Ralph in the back three, Scott Morris on the right, Boyes on the left, Miley in front of the defence, Coker and Parallon in midfield, Cardwell and Dallas leading the line. I'll talk you through the York City lineup. They're in their red shirts, blue shorts and white socks, playing from left to right, the goalkeeper all in purple. Harry Boyes with the corner kick, left-footed from the right corner on the far side. Goes towards the near post, the header across from Stones, who was trying to clear. It is eventually cleared by the Minster men. As the ball bounces, it is chased down by Joe Gray, who's in the lineup. One change for York City as Scott Morris tries to toe poke it forward for Southend. Again cleared by York City. Only one change for them. Hunt dropping to the bench, Greg Ollie coming back in. Mayle in the goal, Johnson, Howe and Kitching across the back three, with Gray expected on the left. Batty and Boateng in the midfield, Gray on the right, Batty and Boateng midfield, Newby on the left. Ollie expected to sit on the right side of an attacking trio, with Stones leading it and Ollie Pearce with 22 goals to his name on the left. Glenn, is that the shape you're seeing early on?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Blue's shape to be put, and it looks like Parallon is taking up that role just in front of, there's Coker and Cav Miley just sitting in front of the back three for Blues, and Parallon is taking a much more advanced position. He's not playing as a midfield trio, if you like. He's just in front of him, as you can see now. He's pushed up alongside Harry Cardwell just on this left-hand side. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a battle of wits, that's for certain.
I did notice him getting involved in the shooting drills, which is normally just exclusive to the starting forwards. But Leon Parallon was getting involved in that to our right. He is in scoring form, having scored the third goal against Bath City in the FA Trophy at the weekend. And this is his first appearance against York City in his career. Meanwhile, the Minster men have had possession in their own half for the last minute or so. We're 2 minutes 40 into the game. York City 0, Southend United 0 here on BBC Essex Sport. Warren Muggleson and Glenn Pennyfather guiding you through this game on what is a bouncing LNER Community Stadium in the north. Gray has managed to keep the ball in on the right wing on this near side. Boateng tries to turn from Dallas and he pokes it away before Cav Miley is able to sneak in. Kitching bursting over the halfway line down the far side. He decides to check back. Goes towards the centre circle from the far wing. There's Zach Johnson, the loanee from Sunderland. As Batty goes back to Kitching. It might be a familiar name to Southend United if you think about the playoff final against Oldham. Started for the Latics in the playoff final win over Southend at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, they're putting just looking at York and how play's been building up there in these opening exchanges. They're putting a lot of trust in Boateng, because Boateng's the man that will sit in there, and it looks like Gray as far up on the right hand side as a wing back as he can possibly get. Newby out on the other side with Josh Jones down the middle, and it looks like Ollie Pearce gets more or less a free roll, Warren. He's allowed to go where he wants. He can roam across the pitch because he's got that insurance of Boateng sitting. He's got Batty that works alongside him, but Batty likes to get on as well. And we know all about Greg Ollie from his days at Gateshead. We know he's an attack-minded player as well. They've got a lot of players with just thoughts of going forward and looking forward and making runs forward. So it does put a lot of emphasis on Boateng and discipline from him.
Oh, York City managed to lift it to Ollie, headed into the path of Pearce in the middle of Southend territory, lifted back to Ollie, right side of the penalty area, on the volley, aims towards the bottom right corner of Solomon Ndeng's goal, probably going wide, but Ndeng had to get down to his left to ensure that it did.
Offside.
An offside flag had gone up against Stones, even though he wasn't involved, but Ollie also in an offside position. So a restart for Southend United and the first shot of the game from York City.
See, questions coming on. Nathan Ralph's already asking, where has Ollie come from? He's made a run Ollie in behind then, Greg Ollie, and we just spoke about that, the fact that he likes to get forward. We know what he's all about. He's got onto it, just flicked it inside to Pearce, who was originally started his position deep. He wasn't picked up, and he kind of ambled into that central area. He had nobody on him, and he played the little give and go with Ollie, who had the strike. Like to see Colin get his angles right, Warren, because from our view it looked like it was going well wide, and he made the save and didn't need to.
Colin Ndeng making his 18th appearance in the National League this season. Actually, has the third most clean sheets for a goalkeeper in the National League at 9. He had one in the FA Trophy 4-0 win over Truro City in the third round in December.
Look, you can see Pearce now, Warren, if you look square of us. Look, Harry Taylor's
no one else around him.
No, Harry Taylor's not sure. Should I go in with him or not? He's sitting in that position where he can just pick up the bits and pieces.
Which he's just done there as the ball was launched towards Stones. Bounced kindly for Harry Taylor to head forward. But Southend unable to get the ball back in York territory, and they quickly sweep it to the far side. Kitching bursting away in his bright orange boots to Newby, joined from Altrincham last season, formerly of Colchester United, nearly 40 appearances for them over 2 seasons before he made the move to the Robins. It's Callum Howe, the captain, sitting in front of what is a 3-man defence, with Boateng dropping back to his left, receives the ball and decides to go laterally with a trio of Coker, Cardwell and Parallon in front of him. It's Johnson and Howe keep York City in possession. Glenn. Alex Kitching, who decides to go infield. And Ollie trying to turn away from Harry Boyes. Referee decides it's the first foul of the game. Harry Boyes will protest his innocence, but it will be a free kick for the Minster men inside their own half.
Sorry, Warren, they're certainly squeezing up Blues. They're not sort of sitting in and allowing York City to play. Leon Parron's squeezing up on this left-hand side. Harry Boyes tucking. Look at how far Harry Boyes has tucked in on Ollie now in midfield, which makes Nathan Ralph come out from that left-sided position to deal with the wing back. So it's brave move from Blues to make sure that they're getting pressure on the ball and not allowing York City to build that play up. As we said right at the start, if you remember me saying, the important thing with players like Josh Stones and players like Ollie Pearce, they thrive on service. You've got to limit that service, and that's what Blues are trying to do. They're trying to get pressure on those York City players and not allowing them to get their head up and thread passes into those sort of players.
You mentioned service, quite an incredible stat really for York City. We talk about the goals, but 15 of their 27 registered players in the squad have assists in the National League. Their leader is Ollie Pearce with 6. There's 3 players on 5 and 2 on 4 and 3 on 3. They know how to create. As ball bounces for Leon Parallon, he's left side of the penalty area, attacking from right to left. Southend in their third kit in all black. Parallon with support from Boyes. Thread into Parallon, trying to turn into the penalty area. He's managed to muscle away from Gray. He's still got the ball. It's poked away by Boateng over his own byline in the end. And Looks like the last touch came off Parallon, and it would be a goal kick for Harrison Mail to take for York City.
Yeah, it was disappointing, wasn't he? He got a bit fortunate really with a little ricochet Leon Parallon as he tried to drive into the penalty area on this left-hand side after exchanging passes with Harry Boyes, and it just ricocheted to him and it looked like it was going to open up, but the lad just got a toe in and it must have just come off of Leon to give them the goal kick.
Goal kick from York met by Southend's Coker into the path of Andy Dallas, who chests it back to Coker, who brings in Scott Morris. Southend just inside their own half. Coker trying to thread into Dallas, but a bumping intersection from Kitchen and the rebound falling to Scott Morris, and Southend back in possession in their own half. Moving quickly from right to left into Joe Gubbins. First consecutive league starts for him since November, as he looks for a first win in his career against York City. Gubbins down the line to Boyes, but intercepted by York's Gray and Boateng. It's quick from Stones into Gray, who continued his run. Gubbins had a hold on him, but the referee says nothing given, and that's the fury of the York City fans. I thought Joe Gubbins might have had a hold of Gray's arm as he got forward, but amid the confusion, Southend's Ralph able to clear away. Glenn.
That all comes around from your decision making. They've kept it tight, they've tightened it all up by themselves, Blues, and allowed the pressure onto them. So Joe Gubbins has then got to spin people around. He's got to stick it in his channel. He tried to find Harry Boyes' feet, who was on his heels. They nicked the ball inside Blues half, and that's where the opportunity comes from Joe Gray. In those situations, when everybody's tight, Warren, you've got your head down, just turn everybody around, stick it in this channel, make sure they turn around and face their own goal and get them under pressure that way. It's just that decision making with your distribution of your pass.
Hiram Boateng on the ball, scored the first goal in the last result for York City, that 2-1 win over Sutton United. 2 times a promotion winner from League 2 with Cambridge in 2021 and Mansfield Town in 2024, both automatic. Kitching has carried the ball to the middle of York City territory, with Johnson on the right on this near side over the halfway line, inside to Ollie, who turns away from Cav Miley. Back to Boateng in the centre circle. Pace of the ball from York City staying intense. Kitchen drives in field from the left wing on the far side, has Daniel Batty behind him, and he can put a cross into the middle, but Parallon putting his face on the line to ensure the ball bounces over the wing, and the throw in taken quickly.
Their movement's sharp as well, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
Blues are keeping the shape. Once they're in good possession, you just got to make sure you shape up and keep in that good shape and keep yourself disciplined, keep filling in gaps, making sure that they either play around you or over you. Don't let them go in between you, don't let them go through you. They can traverse across the pitch, but just keep a good shape, and at the moment they're doing really, really well, Blues, in terms of their shape and keeping organised.
As Harry Boyes puts in a crunching tackle on Greg Ollie, just concede the throw in front of Kevin Mayer's technical area, which Joe Gray would like to get on with for York City. Joined from Hartlepool United over the summer, won the National League playoffs with the Pools in 2021. Callum Howe wearing the captain's armband, as I say, with the red shirts, blue shorts and white socks for York City. From left to right, as Newby picks up an aerial ball inside Southend's half, pokes in field to Greg Ollie outside the penalty area. Newbies on the left side of the penalty area, attempts to play into the centre of the penalty area, but off the shins of Gus Scott Morris for Southend, and it'll be a throw in for York, this time on the left wing, 10 yards from the byline. Yeah,
it's the fact that all 3 of the lads at the back, and obviously you've got Boateng as an insurance, and if he does go forward, if he does do a foray forward, you've got Batty who's now sitting in there as well. All of them are comfortable travelling with the ball, so consequently what it does, it makes one of the Blues players step out to engage with them, and that creates that space, and they do move the ball quickly.
York City not in for any long throw-ins this time, do go short and are happy to work back to the defence in order to go forward. So moving from left to right, Johnson, Gray in front of Southend's Nathan Rao, just inside him, and tries to poke it on the outside of Harry Boyes, with Greg Ollie making a run. He does steal the ball, but his pass is inaccurate, and Calvin Miley picks up for Southend. Leon Parallon is accelerating towards the centre circle. It's drawing defenders, and it creates space for Cardwell and Dallas to run, but he's unable to find them, and he has to go back to Scott Morris, and that draws the frustration of Stuart Maynard, the manager of York City.
the change of play was on, wasn't it? Gus Scott Morris didn't see it. They should be. I'm sure they'll talk about that because their movement is great. As soon as they lose possession, they're out of possession. Like you see, Leon Parolon travel the ball. He probably travelled with the ball with 3 or 4 York City players in his wake chasing him. That creates space this side of the pitch. And as soon as Gus Scott Morris, if you just seen the change of play, like now, Harry Boyce is in.
Andy Dallas has spotted Harry Boyce on the left wing in the final third. Fred to Parolon, who's shooting off the crossbar. Leon Parolon with the first big chance of the game, looking to score in consecutive games, found inside the penalty area, touch off his toe, then managed to get the shot away. It might even have been a save by Harrison Mail to put it onto the crossbar, but it remains 0-0. First big chance, Glenn.
Well, we have spoken about how many goals, obviously, that York City have scored, and quite rightly so, but they do concede goals, and you can see why, because their transition from defence to attack, because they're so forward-minded, their transition is not great in terms of organisation. I highlight the fact that Harry Boyce has got acres of space. If Blues can win possession, they can see the change of play, which Dallas did. He got the change of play, and it was a lovely little ball Boyce threaded into Parolon, who hadn't been picked up either, and it was a great snapshot, and he was just unlucky that he cannoned back off the crossbar.
Miley's taken a slip under the pressure of volley, but the foul is given, and it will be a free kick for Southend.
Yeah, it was a great strike by Parolon, and just unfortunately it cannoned off the crossbar. But opportunities, if Blues can see that space this side, and it's going to happen the opposite way for Gus Scott Morris as well. If Blues can get the ball out into those areas, they can certainly cause this York City side problems.
Leon Parolon just having a word with Harry Boyce, telling him to advance. He's got a lot of space inside the York City territory. Southend operate down the far wing, back to the keeper and Deng and D into Gubbins, who now gives it to Boyce. First time back to Ralph, it's lifted over the top, and Cardwell might have the edge on Johnson. Does muscle him out, no foul given. I thought that Johnson had caught the heels of Cardwell, and it was the last touch from Johnson, so it does mean a second corner kick of the game for Southend, this time from the left wing near side.
All of that comes from the understanding. Ball out to Harry Boyce. Harry Boyce under all sorts of pressure, and a lovely cushion touch back to Nathan Ralph that was saying, just stick that in behind first time. He's done that. Great run by Cardwell in behind, and they end up getting a corner. Good play all round by Blues on this left-hand side.
Only other game we're keeping an eye on, Nottingham Forest against Arsenal in the Premier League. No goals at the City Ground after 17 minutes. Harry Boyce, left-footed corner, left wing. It'll swing away from the byline, short to Leon Parolon. Tries to put it in the air to the far post, and it's Stones who has to head it away. Scott Morris will ensure that goes over the byline, and it's another corner, this time from the right side, and Scott Morris wants to get on with it, although Harry Boyce has told him to.
I was going to say, I think Gus Scott Morris will definitely not take that corner.
I'd have thought he'd rather be on the end of it, like he was at half.
Knowing Gus the way he is, he'll want to put it in and run in and get on the end of it anyway. But he makes his way back into the penalty area.
Gus Scott Morris looking to score in 3 consecutive league games for the first time since September. Coker with the corner, right-footed from the far side. It's met by the head of Harry Cardwell. And Joe Gubbins has conceded a foul on Greg Ollie inside the Minster men's penalty area. It'll be a free kick for the home side. 15 minutes in. York City 0, Southend United 0.
Not over convincing, are they, on set plays? A couple of times we've seen Josh Stones. The first one he flicked on himself. The second one, I think he did. It was him again, wasn't it? To flick that last one on and went out for a corner on the far side. And again, not over convincing on balls delivered into the box from Blues. But I like the creativity from going short to Parolon and then the ball being whipped in. So, Blues are certainly making York City think.
It's a tactical board game out there for Kevin Mayer. To the right of the tunnel is Stuart Maynard, to the left of it. But York City have trying to work their way intricately through Southend's lines. Kitching, the high ball from left to right, aimed at Gray, but Nathan Ralph intercepting with the header into the path of Leon Parolon, who wants to give it back to his captain, and he will. Southend with options for Nathan Ralph to aim at. Parolon running down the left wing. Checks back against Batty, but is able to turn away from it. Attempts to cross, and Batty needs to put his body on the line. It goes over the byline. Southend building real momentum here, and another corner kick.
Love the determination to begin with. The crossfield ball that travelled a long way. Nathan Ralph had to travel with it, but if there's only going to be one winner of that header, he heads it down, and Parolon's got himself into a great position where he can pick up those bits. He's travelled with it as well because he knows he can only head it one place, and I love his confidence and belief going on the outside, taking on Batty and getting his side a corner.
Harry Boyce from the left corner moves towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Scott Morris with the header. It's the judge under the pressure of Newby. But Scott Morris did get ahead and nowhere near the goal. It will be a goal kick for York City. Still 0-0.
Yeah, you know it's a goal kick. There's only Gus moaning at the referee, so none of the other players asking for a corner there. But certainly, again, not over convincing for me. Gus Scott Morris has been first for the ball. He's not hit the target, of course. He's headed it behind the goal. But it's a Blues player first for the ball on a set play again.
Gus Scott Morris, the last player for Southend United to score against York City all the way back in August 2024 in that 1-1 draw back at Roots Hall. First game of Southend United season in their previous campaign.
Oh, referee, it's the wrong way.
Throw in, it's going to York City. Southend thought it was theirs, as did Kevin Mayer. But the assistant, David Holmes, has said it will be for York City. And the fourth official, Scott Simpson, elucidating that reasoning to Kevin Mayer. Parallon, it's judged to have nipped at the heels of Greg Ollie now as the throw-in was played short. It'll be a free kick for the home side. 5 yards from the right wing on this near side, just over the halfway line.
Yeah, there's things like that do frustrate you as a head coach and as a manager, whatever you like to call them, and you can see the fact that Kevin's got frustrated as the referee's coming over to have a word with Kevin now. It was blatant Blues throw-in, and the referee was on the wrong side of it. He wasn't really helped out by his assistant referee, who didn't look like he had a clue what was going on, and he ended up giving it the wrong way between them.
So free kick to be taken by Daniel Batty. Only two outfield players not looking to be involved in this set piece. It's from right to left. Was met by a York City head, but foul conceded in the process. Southend will restart from the edge of their own penalty area. It was Zach Johnson who challenged for it.
Yeah, is that Harry Taylor, isn't it?
Harry Taylor down. York City will be feeling frustrated by Southend, having scored their incredible scoring rate, 65 goals in 25 games, 30 more than Southend in 2 more games, averaging 2.6 goals a game in the National League. But they've scored 3 or more goals in 12 games this season, and believe it or not, Glenn, they've only failed to score against only 2 teams this season. Any guesses?
Southend at the moment. And at Roots, wasn't it? Southend
United. The other one was here in a 1-0 defeat against Solihull Moors.
Oh, I wasn't bothered about the other one.
Oh, well, you got you're 50%. Well done, Glenn.
I only want to know about Southend's one.
Well, impressive for Southend United. As it stands, still no goals here at the LNER Community Stadium after 20 minutes. York City 0, Southend United 0 on BBC Essex on all frequencies. And it's a late kick-off following a 1-0 win for Colchester United over Bristol City.
Rovers.
Bristol Rovers, I beg your pardon.
Steady. Bristol City.
We'll tick that one off, or if you've got that on your bingo card. Boreham Wood beating Braintree Town 3-0 at Cressing Road. No palavers there. And Benfleet's FA Vase run ending with a 2-0 defeat against Punjab United at home. All reaction of those games to come before we go off air at 8 o'clock. York City have given possession away, and Ollie Coker picks it up. It was actually won by Andy Dallas, I should say. But Josh Jones winning the ball off Cav Miley as he tries to twist and turn away like a snake writhing away from grip. And eventually back to Kitchen, and that earns the applause of the Minster Men fans.
The lesson of learning to just check your shoulder again, Warren. As a central midfield player, you're picking up a loose ball, and that was all through the pressure of Blues, which ended up with Andy Dallas making sure the pass was misplaced. But Cav, as he's running towards the ball, he's checking his shoulders, just scanning, making sure you know what's going on around you, but unfortunately he didn't. That's why he had his pocket picked by Stones on the blind side.
Cav Miley getting himself a goal contribution earlier in the week, the second assist in the 3-1 win over Bath City. Hasn't scored since last December in the FA Trophy win over Brentwood Town. Now once again York City pick up possession in their own half as Southend quickly get back into their shape with Howe and Johnson exchanging passes. Johnson with pace towards Ollie on the edge of the centre circle. Boateng able to poke it beyond an on-rushing Dallas to Kitchen on the far wing. Checks on the halfway line. Back to Boateng. Joining from Mansfield over the summer. Former Crystal Palace player. 1 Premier League appearance to his name during 5 years with the team and over 200 EFL appearances. This time he lifts it for Kitchen to chase down the left wing, but will be nowhere near. Kitchen and Colin and Dengendy happy to collect that one.
Yeah, good shape again from Blues, good organisation. We haven't seen many, and I think that's probably the first one we've seen them hit back to front.
Yeah. This time Harry Taylor looking to go for that into the path of Cardwell, whose header will find Dallas hugging the right wing far side. Has to work away from goal, and eventually the combination of Newby and Boateng force the ball out of play on the far wing, but it will be a throw-in for Southend.
Yeah, and much closer together, the front two. We didn't see a lot of that the other evening, did we, at Bath? But we're seeing that a little bit better today. Just picking up that flick from Harry Cardwell, Andy Dallas just reading it.
Southend United travelling to Yorkshire looking for a first win against their current top 6 side. Only 2 points in 5 games against the current top 6. Draws against York at home and Borehamwood away. Losses against Scunthorpe and Carlisle at home, and then a loss against Forest Green on the road. Long throw in from Scott Morris, cleared by Mark Kitchen, but back into the penalty area by Cardwell. Parallon attempting to put it back into his path, hooked away by Daniel Batty this time, but Southend might have a third bite of the cherry through Miley's header. Cardwell unable to read it on that occasion. It will fall to Harrison Mayle.
Yeah, actually you took the words out of my mouth, really. I think as a forward you're reading that, aren't you? You're taking a chance.
Yeah.
You're gambling on that header going beyond that back three. Listen, if it doesn't go there, you've not lost anything. But if it does go there like it did on that time and you haven't gambled, you're kicking yourself that you haven't taken a chance. And I think Harry Cardwell should have just taken a chance just to do a little darting run in behind. He might have been fortunate and got on the end of that ball.
I think the presence of Parallon in that more attacking role is making York City think twice in defence, isn't it, as well? Because they don't expect him to pop up there. I know Stuart Maynard said in his pre-match interview, we know how Southend will set up, but they haven't set up anything like that today.
No, there's a lot of factors involved in that defensively, because everybody's got to be doing their job. Everybody has their responsibilities on the pitch, but the shape is looking decent at the moment, and he's asking questions of York City without a doubt, and that's what you've got to do when you've got a battle of tactics, battle of wits with 2 coaches. You've got to make your opposition think.
Nervy moments as Cav Miley was put under pressure by Stones but managed to get it back to Southend's Gubbins. Ralph lifting towards Harry Cardwell. Parallon will try and keep this in possession. As it bounces out of play, it'll be a throw in for Southend midway through York's territory on the left wing on this near side. Coming up to 25 minutes played, still goalless between the Minster men and the Blues. Ralph with this throw in.
Yeah, it's all about as well, managing the game, and I know they talk about that at the end of the games a lot, but it's taking the heat out of the game, taking the tempo out of the game. You could want to be able to dictate that tempo.
Good play from Southend. They were in close quarters under the pressure of York City, but have gone backwards. Gubbins and Taylor out to the far wing with Scott Morris. Ball bounces over Miley's head, and Parallon will help this onto the left wing. Boys cutting inside, wants the overlapping run from Parallon. Boys will cross to the far post this time. Scott Morris hadn't made the run, so Andy Dallas has to chase that over to the far wing, but he has won it. Whipped into the middle, but cleared off Kitching.
You'd expect somebody driving across that front post.
That would be Scott Morris, wouldn't it?
That is all. Yeah. Well, no, I think it should have been Harry Cardwell on that occasion, but it was the opposite side of the pitch. But again, it's York City do invest. As soon as that ball goes forward, they all on the sprint out. Now, if you've got decent possession, you turn them back round facing the goal again, like Blues did again. That you're going to get pressure on the York City goal. Blues are doing that really well at the moment.
Scott Morris with the long throw in from the far side. Bounces in the penalty area. Cardwell keeps alive. Boys with the pokes volley. Saved by the keeper. Dallas on the follow-up off the bottom of the left hook right and away from Mayle and cleared away. And Dallas must be confounded at how that hasn't found the back of the net. And another big chance for Southend United, who are still in possession, Glenn.
Yeah, play it first. Oh, well done, Ollie. Got away with that. I thought we could have popped that first time. But yeah, I mean, Blues, really, what an opportunity that was. And it was just all about keeping that ball alive in the penalty area. Their actual marking and their discipline when they're being attacked is not great. You can see how good they are going forward. But when they're under a little bit of pressure, there's not a lot of tracking, there's not a lot of marking going on, there's not a lot of organisation. They're relying on the fact that Blues haven't taken the opportunities, and I said that at the top of the show. Can Blues manufacture chances? Well, yes, they have. The big question is, can they take them? And they haven't been able to at the moment. That was a huge opportunity for Andy Dallas.
And that has got some of the Southend fans behind Colin and Engendy's goal on their feet. They're packed in like sardines into the stand to my right. It's the north stand, actually. We're in the east stand. They are enjoying what they're seeing, the Blues fans.
So am I.
We all are.
Yeah.
And I hope you are on BBC Essex Sport as well.
It's a really intriguing game.
Intriguing is the word for it, Glenn. Absolutely. As you say, Southend United in great form coming into this. Only 2 losses in their last 8 games. The other 6 have been wins. As York City play their game of cat and mouse with Southend United. Callum Howe, almost stationary on the ball on the edge of the centre circle.
Look how far Harry Boyes is now. Harry Boyes is attacking the right side of centre half.
Zach Johnson pushed the ball to Howe, and Cardwell jumped in to challenge, caught him late, and the referee reaches straight to his pocket, and our first yellow card after 28 minutes goes to Harry Cardwell.
Yeah, all that comes about from the lad Howe having a dreadful first touch, because what it did was give Harry Cardwell the opportunity to go, I can go and win this, and unfortunately it just wasn't as bad a touch as he thought it was, Harry Cardwell. And in the end, he's got there first, the lad Howe. Cardwell's absolutely clattered him, but that's the price you pay for having a bad first touch. But Harry Cardwell's got the yellow card. But Blues certainly, it's giving opportunity for Maynard to get a few words into his players on what he wants. How can they combat what Southend United are doing at the moment? Is he going to change his shape? I'm sure Blues will have something else up their sleeve if they do. But certainly what Blues are doing at the moment with the shape and what is going on? Gus Scott Morris and Harry Taylor, what is the referee doing? The lad's laying down on the pitch, everybody's come over.
There's no physio out on the field.
What on earth is going on, referee? Get on with the game.
So that all the players had come over to the technical area to get some words, thinking that the physio would go out on the field as Zach Johnson stayed on the ground. And now Gus Scott Morris has decided to wind them up by falling to the ground in the centre circle himself with a little wry smile on his face.
Terrible referee,
back up.
Who's in charge?
Referee today, Oliver Mackey, has only refereed Southend once, and that was back in March last year in the 2-1 win at Eastleigh.
Yeah, he didn't know what was going on then, did he? The lad was down. There was no physio on the pitch, and he allowed everybody to come off the pitch, and the lad was just sat on the floor in front of him, and he was having a chat with him.
Strange tidings unfolding.
Goodness.
At the LNER.
Goodness me.
So play restarts with a short free kick for York City. Batty back to Howe and gets the ball back himself. To the left with Kitching. He's looking to be incisive for the home side. Newby up on the left wing has clearly got a good bit of pace over 5 metres. Pushes to Johnson on the near side of the centre circle. We're getting close to the half hour. York City 0, Southend United 0 here on BBC Essex Sports. Kitching has 11 Southend United players in front of him. All the Southend outfield players inside their own half. Batty out to the left. They are frustrating this York City side in possession as they play it down the left wing. Dallas going back to the keeper as Ndengendi clears away. Josh Stones sliding in to attempt to put him off, but Ndengendi with great composure. Yeah,
good work by Andy Dallas as well, tracking all the way back in there just to snuff out that little bit of danger.
Newby attempting to thread into Ollie, but Miley intercepting, and Southend can get on the attack. Harry Boyes has gone off. Harry Boyes has gone down under a tackle from Joe Gray off the ball. Advantage being played as Southend continue. Dallas on the right wing has an overlapping run from Scott Morris. Plays it to him right side of the penalty area. Plays across into Cardwell. 1-0 Southend United.
Wonderful move.
York City stood still as Southend United surged forward, and Harry Cardwell scores his first league goal for the Blues in 17 months. Back with the Blues, back amongst the goals, and what a big game to do it in. York City 0, Southend United 1.
Somebody's hurt here, somebody's hurt. Gus Scott Morris is saying somebody's injured over there and needs to come off.
But whilst that happens, brilliant move from Southend United, taking complete advantage of York City.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. Certainly somebody is injured, definitely for Southend United. But what a wonderful move. Again, they're victims, York City, of their own sort of enthusiasm to try and get forward. They've invested so many players forward again. Blues have won possession. They've got the counter-attack on. Definite. I mean, the lad, I hope he's booked the lad. Did he book the lad for the foul off right in front of us on Harry Boyes? Because that was a foul off the ball, which the referee definitely see. And then Blues clear loads of space in the wide areas again. Andy Dallas made the best of it. I thought he'd taken too much time, but he slid in Gus Scott Morris, and Harry Cardwell said, "Thank you very much, Gus, for putting that on a plate for me." 1-0 Blues. Wonderful move, but I'm not quite sure who.
So the substitution being prepared is Harry Cardwell.
Yeah.
He just rubbed the back of his left calf.
Yes, his calf, yeah.
Well, from high to low for Harry Cardwell in the space of 60 seconds, scoring the goal to open the scoring at the LNER Community Stadium, and has to come off with an injury, and Slavi Spazov coming into the game.
I'm wondering whether he's pulled that calf celebrating, because he was fine. The run towards the ball was absolutely perfect. As I said, it was right on a plate, right in the front of the goal, just on the 6-yard line. All Harry Carboy had to do was get his head on it and direct it. It was absolutely perfect. And then he wheeled away. He actually carried on running, didn't he, to celebrate. Now, whether he's pulled his calf celebrating, I don't know, because Gus Scott Morris intimated straight away that he needed to come off. There was a substitution, there was an injury, and unfortunately Harry Carboy's got the goal, but had to go off. So Slavi Spazov on. No change though the way Blues have approached this game, that's for certain. They've started this game with 33rd minute so well.
Josh Stones and Joe Gubbins go over in a heat, and the referee decides to blow in favour of Southend United.
I'll tell you what, a couple of things. Well done. I know I just moaned at the referee about the farcical bit with the lad sitting in the middle of the pitch, but he's done a couple of great things there. He played advantage because he see that foul on Harry Boys on this left-hand side, and he allowed the game to go to flow, didn't he? And they got the goal. And on that one, he hasn't been fooled by Josh Stones getting hold of Joe Gubbins and falling on the floor. He's realised that. The crowd are up because they think it's a foul on Josh Stones. No, it's the complete other way round. And well done the referee for seeing that. It's Josh Stones grabbing hold of Joe Gubbins as they're going forward for the ball.
Oh, your opinions change very quickly.
I know, emotional old game football.
It is.
Tell you.
A roller coaster. But I'll tell you what, Southend rock steady in these first 33 minutes. With a disciplined, strong performance, which has frustrated York City, and see them find a gap in the eye of the needle through the defence. Which, bearing in mind, is not the strongest defence in the league. Southend are second best. York City have conceded 27 goals, that's 7th best in the league, as the ball goes over the byline for every York City goal kick. So, and as we've seen, Glenn, there are gaps to be exposed in the York City side, especially when they all stop looking at the referee.
Well, I think they cause their own problems because they are so forward-minded. So many goals they've scored, of course, and they're sitting pretty right up at the top of the league. On the other hand, on the other side of things, they do leave real big gaps. I said right at the start, it's a real big game for Boateng because of the discipline he has to show. Well, he's been working as a piston with Batty, so sometimes they don't get that right either. So what they do, they relinquish the middle of the park very quickly, especially when they think they can get on the attack. So that that's not working particularly well, and there are spaces in the wide areas that Blues have exploited. A couple of times where they haven't really got any joy, but they have got that joy down that right hand side and they've exploited it then. But it is, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it, for them, the fact that we're fantastic going forward and we score a lot of goals, and that might still work out that way this afternoon. We don't know, there's a long time to go.
However, with a long clearance for York City.
On the other side of things, defensively, they're a little bit of
and Southend win it back inside York City's half. Parallon, who did win the ball back, gets it back from Harry Boys, away from Johnson, out to Scott Morris on the right wing. Not enough on it though, and well covered by the Minster men's Mark Kitching.
Yeah, always on the stretch though, Warren, haven't they? They're always on the recovery run. They're never sat there in a good shape. It's always on a recovery.
Gubbins to Ralph. Southend looking in just a higher gear at the moment to York City. Johnson wins it back into Gray. Stones in front of him. Gubbins tries to muscle him off the ball. Ollie on the right wing, infield to Boateng. There is space for Boateng. There's loads for Newby on the far side. Instead to Pearce. A heavy touch out to the left with Newby. As York City are on the left side of the penalty area, poked into the penalty area. Pearce can't get there though. He's taken a vital interception from Miley to stop them. And now Coker, who's been relatively quiet in this game on the ball, but he has been part of the move.
Yeah, he has done a lot of work
under the
defensively, not necessarily actually in possession of the ball, but I tell you what, him and Cav Miley and getting themselves in position again. We're talking about discipline. They've both got to show discipline for Southend United to keep a good shape, to keep everything in front of them. What they don't want to do is get turned around and facing their own goal like they're doing to the York City midfield.
Oh, that's all the noise you can hear. That is the Blues fan. You took the words out of my mouth, Glenn. What a night they are having. After 36 minutes, York City 0, Southend United 1. And what before kickoffs today was a first versus 7th clash, still a top 7 game. And a top draw National League clash unfolding for Southend perspective. Spazov back to Scott Morris. Poked out to the right wing with Andy Dallas, who lines up a cross to Spazov, who was in the penalty area. Could have break away from Gray, who doesn't beat Parallon to the ball on this near side, as No one else from York City had chased it. Parallon poked to Spazov. Excellent Slough Town combination. Parallon, has he kept it in? He has. As Johnson cleared it away, there's fury from York City. They thought it had gone over the byline, but a corner kick for Southend United.
How's that for confidence from Leon Parallon? I mean, he's the one that sprinted out. It looked like a lost cause going out of play. He's the one that's got there. He's turned the lad Joe Gray inside out, twisted his blood a little bit, and then just lifted it over with his foot, just lifted the ball over the top of two defenders into Harry Boyes, little 1-2, and he wins his side the corner. There's a lad that's playing with a lot of confidence.
Boyes with a corner kick from this left wing. It goes short, but hooked away by Stones, who's done more defensive work today than forward work as the number 9. Taylor all the way back to Ndengendi. Out to the left wing. The last Boyes to challenge for this, but again Stones is there. His header out to the south end left wing on this near side, and Harry Boyes might think about the long throw in, Glenn.
Yeah, I'd take your time now. You dictate the tempo. You're 1-0 up away from home. You know, you've limited this York City machine to very little opportunity. You know, you just got to dictate the tempo. Take your time on things.
Play down the left wing by Nathan Ralph instead. Popped over to Boyes, volleyed cross from left to right. It'll be Newby to clear away with his head as far as Scott Morris. First time to Dallas, Southend, intricate and sharp. First one-touch passing. Coker, infield to Miley. Has it get it on his left foot, but decides to turn away. Has Scott Morris on his right, but Coker in front of him. Back to Taylor. Now Scott Morris. Lifted towards Spazov, but the header from Boateng is into Coker. The shot is deflected, and Harrison Mayle decided to take no chances as that spun away, and it is saved by Harrison Mayle, probably going wide, the shot from outside the penalty area, but York City looking rattled.
And the crowd are as well. You can hear it. You know, the goalkeeper's got the ball. He's not releasing it. He's held onto it for a few seconds longer, and they wanted him to. And you can hear them. You know, the crowd are, as you rightly say, are rattled. They're not used to seeing their side being behind at home and being dictated to at the moment.
Well, believe it or not, York City have lost twice this season, both of them at home in their 13 games. Won 8, drawn 3, lost 2. Unbeaten on the road, 8 wins, 4 draws. But still very out of character for the Minster men. Southend United leading 1-0 on the road with just over 5 minutes of normal time left in this first half. Don't forget, it would be great to hear from you at half time. 81333 on text, 080032133 on WhatsApp. Start those messages with the word Essex. York City's Callum Howe, who scored the second goal in the last game here back in December 2024, 3-0 win for York City. All 3 of those goals coming from set pieces. But today, the Minstermen now work it down the right wing into Daniel Batty, but Nathan Ralph of Southend getting between the man and the ball and able to turn and clear. Spazov with the control, but Boateng putting the pressure on, and it's a real mess for York City at the back, and Boateng's lost it again. Ollie Coker driving, he can thread it into Andy Dallas, he'll get it into the penalty area. Andy Dallas is through, saved by the keeper, but he's going back for offside is given, but Glenn Pennyfather, there was a challenge off the ball once again.
He hasn't seen it this time, and it's Kevin and Mark Bentley, the 4th official, has seen it. It's on the blind side of the referee. It's down this left-hand side again. I think it was Johnson on that occasion, wasn't it? It was the centre-half, Zach Johnson, that pulled Parallon down, because Parallon is definitely in a foot race, will beat Johnson without a shadow of doubt. He's pulled him down as the play's going on the far side, but unfortunately for Southend, the referee didn't see it on this occasion.
Well, 2 times York City with questionable challenges off the ball. The first one leading to the first goal, this one leading to an attack. Andy Dallas' shot saved, still 1-0 and Scott Morris clears away. Kitchings ball into Stones, out to the right side of the penalty area. Gray with the first time cross out to the far side, over Pearce. There's a volley from Newby off Harry Taylor. Stuart Maynard wanted a handball, but referee said no, but it will be a corner kick for York City, who, believe it or not, Glenn, the top scorers in the National League, top scorers in the top 5 leagues of English football, haven't registered a shot on goal.
Yeah, well, let's not tempt too much fate, but it was a great strike. Was it Pearce with a strike?
It was Newby. It go over Pearce's head. Newby with the first time volley.
It was a super contact by Newby, and Harry Taylor, Stuart Maynard clutching at a few straws there. I think it hit Harry Taylor on the head, didn't it?
Yeah. Alex Newby, 8 goals in the National League this season. Joined from Altrincham over the summer. And a corner kick from the left wing Aimed towards the far post. The man all on his own and shooting with Joe Gray. Had room to have a touch on the edge of the penalty area and get it onto his right boot, spinning away from the right upright. No threat to Ndengendi's goal. There's the first shot, but it's wide. Still 1-0.
There's the thing. That obviously they haven't seen that free kick before, because they would have been ready. That corner kick before that routine, that straight off the training field. They would have been aware and waiting for that to happen. But it was Joe Gray, wasn't it, who just started in the middle of the park, and as the ball was drilled, it was drilled over the top of everybody onto the edge of the box at the far side, and he had a first touch and then drilled the ball wide of the goal. But Darren Curry straight out of the dugout, just telling everybody to calm down, take your time, Colin, just settle everything back down again.
And Ndengendi's goal kick bounces, and Dallas lost it for a moment as York City's Johnson clearing away, but York City can't get beyond the halfway line as a pinball eventually falls to Scott Morris, lifted down the right wing onto the head of Howe. And Hiram Boateng giving possession away again. You mentioned him at the beginning of the game, Glenn. He's not had a great 10 minutes, Hiram Boateng. Although York City have won possession back. Johnson able to drive forward to Stones, who's on the right wing. Gubbins in front of him. Back to Batty. Decides to carry on playing down the right wing. Johnson gets a 1-2 into Batty. His cross at the back of the legs of Cav Miley, and Ralph, first time clearance, asking Spazov to chase, intercepted by York City's Howe. All the outfield players for York City in Southend territory. Ralph jumping in to challenge Miley, eluded by Batty. York City still with possession as they drift in from the right wing through then number 18, the midfielder, to Johnson. Decides to cross to the far post. It's beyond Stones, and Newby wasn't at the follow-up. As the ball goes over the byline, the Southend fans behind Ndengendi's goal applaud the shape of Southend, and it'll be a goal kick for the Blues.
Yeah, take as much time as you want with this, Colin. No rush. Last minute of normal time, whatever the referee's going to add on.
Ndengendi taking his time. We'll find out shortly from fourth official Scott Simpson how much time is left. You'll get reaction during half-time from Colchester United's 1-0 win over Bristol Rovers. I'll see if we can squeeze in Steve Pitt and Braintree Town and their 3-0 defeat against Boreham Wood. Looking for still continue to look for a first home win since the end of November. Foul against Southend from the goal kicks. Coker conceding it. Free kick for York City. He wanted to get on with it, but referee Oliver Mackey pulling it back as another player is down.
Yeah.
Don't worry, this time he hasn't allowed the players to go to the technical area for water.
This is where
2 minutes of added time.
This is where you get your big voices. Get back into your shape there. Just while it's low, you don't want the low. Get back into your shape and have your rest in your shape. You know, you don't want to be walking and ambling back into it, because it just keeps your mind concentrated and your mind focused.
Batty having to turn back to Howe. Spazov putting the pressure on. Slotted straight into that Cardwell role, leading what is an attacking trio really for Southend. With Dallas on his right, Parallon on his left, but orbiting. The high ball from Pearce. It's met by Southend, who tries to get it down the right wing, but Batty getting there ahead of Spazov, and then back to his keeper Harrison Mayle, who hasn't got a clean sheet since the game before Christmas. 4-0 win over Truro here, and he won't get one today thanks to Harry Cardwell's. But he's on long enough to not call it a cameo appearance, but scoring and then coming off with an injury. We'll get the post-match reaction, see how serious that is. I noticed as he came off, Kevin Mayer was in deep conversation with him.
Yeah,
as he came off the bench and getting treatment from John Gowers.
Well, let's see what the extent of the injury is, but obviously Harry Cardwell, looking at his face as he come off, it was a face of real disappointment. Yeah.
As I say, he only scored in the FA Trophy before today, in the 5 appearances he's made in all competitions. York City's Daniel Batty carrying the ball over the halfway line. Zach Johnson in front of him, but has to turn back because of Harry Boy's dogged defensive work. 20 seconds left of the 2 additional minutes in this first half at the LNER Community Stadium. Still York City 0, Southend United 1. Gray poking it down the right wing to Ollie. First time cross by the boot of Southend's Joe Gubbins. Out for a throw-in on the right wing. Probably the last set piece we'll see as a few low clouds make their way around the floodlights in Yorkshire. Throw played short, Sabati crossing with his left foot out to the far post. Taylor with a confident header, Miley into the path of Coker, and that brings an end to what has been a disciplined, determined and dogged first half for Southend United, who deservedly take a 1-0 lead into the break. After 30 minutes, an excellent move from Southend United while York City stood still. Across from the right side of the penalty area onto Harry Cardwell's head, his first league goal for the Blues in 17 months, having returned on loan from Forest Green Rovers. And really there's been the big chance of him for Southend United. Andy Dallas had a shot hit the bottom of the left upright, saw a shot saved by the keeper Leon Parallon, pushed onto the crossbar, and Glenn Pennyfather, probably one of the best 45 minutes we've seen from Southend United this season.
Yeah, I think it was far better than dogged. I thought they had real control over that 45 minutes. You know, you're coming up against a side. You know, they've read all the stats before this game. They'd have known all about York City and what they've been doing in the last 14 games. And to come here after having, you know, a period of inactivity, a couple of weeks until that Bath City game, and then the Bath City game on not great conditions. They had to work hard to get their result there, and then to come here this evening and to put on a 45 minutes like that of real discipline, real control, had some momentum at time, dictated tempo, which is important in games like this, and frustrated the life out of their opponents. It's a really, really good performance from Southend. They've managed the game so well. And as I say, they've had some real control over this football match against a quality team. You have to say that, certainly offensively. Now, what Kevin's team talk is, and it's probably one of the easier this season, more of the same. You've got to stay disciplined. You've got to stick to that game plan. You can't afford to lose focus. You can't afford to lose concentration, because what they've done so far has been excellent. Now, there might be a change from Maynard, whether they'll change something, and they've got to be ready for that. They've got to come out them blocks in that second period. They can't afford to come out cold, Warren. That's so important. You get hit with that sucker punch early. They've got to be bang on it as soon as they walk out that tunnel for the second period and that whistle goals. But that first 45 minutes from Southend United was excellent and a really enjoyable watch.
Certainly has been. Great to share it with you, Glenn. We'll hand over to Victoria Polly, who's back in the warm studio in Essex. Get in touch, X at BBC Essex Sport. You can text 81333 or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your messages with the word Essex. You may not know, Benjamin Roundtree, the founder of the Roundtree's Confection Company, was born in York. And as we go in for the break, it's Southend United with a sweet taste in their mouth after a delicious first 45 minutes at the LNER. Half-time, York City 0, Southend United 1.
Sonia Watson at breakfast.
There's a lot of things you can do in bed. Getting dressed, I did not have. Is this correct that David in Rayleigh has called in to say he did have to get dressed in bed? That is how cold it is. Hang on, so you got dressed in bed as well?
I only kind of put my top half on while my legs were still under the duvet. Yeah.
And then what?
And then kind of fell out of bed. As I got the rest of my clothes on.
Sonia Watson at breakfast. Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Essex.
BBC Essex Sport.
22 minutes past 6, Victoria Polly with you on an extended BBC Essex Sport advantage. Southend United at the break then. They lead York City by 1-0 thanks to Harry Cardwell opening the scoring, but having to go off with an injury in the immediate aftermath of that. 81333 on the text if you want to get in touch. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start your message with the word Essex. Can Blues keep that up in the second half? We'll be back for commentary across all BBC Essex frequencies and online for you. We've got some reaction to bring you to our games from earlier on here on BBC Essex Sport. Let me tell you, at the City Ground at half-time in the Premier League, it is goalless between Nottingham Forest and the leaders Arsenal there. I will take you through some of the other scores from elsewhere, from earlier locally. I did run you through a good chunk of them earlier on, but we will round everything up before 8 o'clock, but I'll try and bring you the non-league scores from elsewhere too. But let's get some reaction to our earlier games. Colchester United 1-0 winners at Bristol Rovers in League 2. Aurora Edwards, the substitute, getting the used goal 5 minutes before the end. Let's hear from head coach Danny Cowley on that win. He's been speaking to Neil Kelly.
What a magnificent way to win the game. Glorious finish by Aurora Edwards. Yeah, a brilliant goal to cap off a brilliant performance. Honestly, Neil, I'm so proud of the group. It don't matter what gets thrown at us, we just get on with it, keep going, and yeah, you know, for us to have the players that we have unavailable to us at the moment, Tom Flanagan, our captain, Ben Perry obviously out for the season, Teddy Bishop, Harry Anderson, you know, boys that were our key players to us. And then in the first 2 minutes we lose Ellis Yandelo, who's for me the best left back in the division. And yeah, today was a day for the group. There's a saying in there about the sum of the parts, and I just think the boys, you know, Frankie's so professional all week, works hard, does extras, so that the subs never know when the opportunity is going to come and then when it's going to arise, but they know they have to be ready. And the most professional players are always ready. And I thought he'd come in and put in a really, really solid performance together. And of course, yeah, Aurora will get the headlines, and rightly so. And do you know what? I said to Aurora in there, he's a winger. He played really well. We beat MK Dons, probably the best team in this division, in the last game, 1-0. I leave him out. Really unlucky, really unfortunate. I've lived football long enough, I've seen enough dressing rooms and players that would sulk in that moment. He didn't, he accepted it, he understood, and he just said to me last night, he said, I'll be ready. When you need me, I'll be ready. And he comes onto the pitch, and again, the kid practices that so often, like literally rep after rep after rep after rep in training. And of course, when you practice like that and the moment happens, then you're ready to find that goal.
Danny Cowley there on a 1-0 win for his side at Bristol Rovers, bringing you full reaction between the full time in the Southend game and 8 o'clock here on BBC Essex Sport. Not such a good day for Braintree Town in the National League, beaten by 3-0 at home by Boreham Wood. Let's hear from the Iron boss, Steve Pitt.
You just seen why Boreham Wood are the rising stars of the league at the moment. This feels more a therapy session than an interview. How are you feeling?
Humbled. Absolutely humbled, as I just said in my previous interview, and that's the first time I can honestly say that in 14 months as Braintree manager. We were taught a lesson today. We were nowhere near them. They're on a different level to us. If we'd competed the way I wanted us to compete, I'm not saying the outcome of the game would have been different, but I think it'd have been a bit closer. But yeah, they're credit to them. They were excellent, and that's the best all-round performance that we've come up against from an opposition side all season, from start to finish.
I saw around the half-hour mark you had Shakeover over 2 or 3 times to adjust things and start to deal with it. Could have been 5 or 6 by then, but Mason Terry, what a game.
Yeah, I just said in the dressing room that the only player that emerged with any real credit was Mason. I thought he was 9 out of 10, to be fair to him, and particularly second half, I think more so than first half. He stopped it being potentially a cricket school.
You left the substitutes to quite late. Any particular reason for that, or is it just trying to work out how to deal with them purring so nicely?
Well, I think the reality is they were getting out so easily, weren't they? That, you know, you're thinking, you know, a different dynamic in terms of the more physical players or the bigger players, i.e. Jet and John. If you're going to bring them on, you've got to get service into them. You've got to have good possession higher up the pitch, and and that possession has got to result in balls into the box and what have you. And we weren't doing that.
That's Steve Pitt there, the Braintree Town boss. Again, more reaction the final hour of BBC Essex Sport, but we will also bring you some reaction on BBC Sounds. You'll be able to listen to those full interviews at your leisure as well. Still welcome your thoughts on the programme if you want to react to those earlier games, or if you're a Southend United fan listening along with Blues 1-0 up at York. Evening to Captain Smudger, who says, what a great first half from the Blues. 3 good chances, 1 goal. York completely outplayed. Keep it up. Come on, you Blues. Second half commentary to come of that game for you. Mentioned some of the full-time scores from elsewhere. Took you through National South and Isthmian Premier earlier. Isthmian North, Brightlingsea Regent 3, Felixstowe and Walton United 4. Brightlingsea Regent were leading that one at half-time. Goalless between Cambridge City and Grays Athletic. Haybridge Swifts 1, Redbridge 5, Stanway Rovers 2, Waltham Abbey 1, Takeley 1, Concord Rangers 1, Tilbury 2, Thousand Pitsea 2 and Walthamstow 4, Whittam Town 3. Maldon and Tiptree started the day as the leaders there, but their game at Roxton was postponed, which means that Felixstowe have gone back to the top of the table with their win today. Actually, I think they'd gone top a bit earlier on in the week, maybe. But Maldon and Tiptree do have games in hand there. So it'll be interesting to see how things pan out in that league. We've got Essex Senior League, Thurlow Nunn divisions, Spartan South Midlands, where Harlow entered administration last week, played as well today. So I'll round up all of that for you. Local rugby to come as well on the programme. BBC Essex Sport on air until 8 o'clock.
BBC Essex Sport.
Good evening to you, Victoria Polly with you on BBC Essex Sport. Into our second commentary of the day, Southend United at York City in the late kick-off in the National League, and it's Blues who lead.
Andy Dallas has spotted Harry Boyes on the left wing in the final third. Credit to Parallon, who's shooting off the crossbar. Leon Parallon with the first big chance of the game, looking to score in consecutive games, found inside the penalty area, touch off his toe, then managed to get the shot away. It might even have been a save by Harrison Mail to put it onto the crossbar. Cardwell keeps alive. Boys with the Pope's volley. Saved by the keeper. Dallas on the follow-up off the bottom of the left hook right and away from Mail and cleared away. And Dallas must be confounded at how that hasn't found the back of the net. And another big chance for Southend United. Dallas on the right wing has an overlapping run from Scott Morris. Plays it to him right side of the penalty area. Plays across into Cardwell. 1-0 Southend United.
Wonderful move.
York City stood still as Southend United surged forward. And Harry Cardwell scores his first league goal for the Blues in 17 months.
And promptly had to go off injured after that. Can Southend United build on that positive first half and crucially that goal lead they've got? Second half commentary to come on BBC Essex Sport. Elsewhere in the late kickoff in the Premier League, it's goalless between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal at half time. We are on air until 8 o'clock this evening on BBC Essex Sport. Still time for you to get in touch with your thoughts on your team, and we'll bring you a full roundup of all the post-match reaction in the final part of the programme. Once Southend United's full time and that's all finished, we'll bring you all of the reaction from around the grounds on BBC Essex Sport. We're on air until 8 o'clock this evening, so stick with us. Time to head back to the LNER Community Stadium. Southend United leading York City by 1-0. Let's rejoin our commentary team, former Southend United midfielder Glenn Pennyfather alongside BBC Essex's Warren Muggleton.
Call 0800 111 40 41. Text 81333 and start your message with the word Essex. BBC Essex Sport.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Yes, welcome back to the LNER Community Stadium. Floodlights shining brightly under this cloudy evening. No chances of rain though. The Southend United fans packed together like a cluster of penguins in the North Stand. And the frustrated York City fans around us going in for refreshments. Meanwhile, Glenn Pennyfather and I have been we've been getting involved in the half-time quiz here at York City, testing our knowledge. We both came out very well.
That was enjoyable, wasn't it?
It was. We did.
I like that.
It was
Maybe
very
they could be employed at Roots Hall. I'm sure the Roots Hall and Southend are massive one.
Yeah, it did. And on that vein, it's Southend United that have been asking the questions of York City. Harry Cardwell with the difference, despite having to go off with injury. York City making their way out. Glenn, if I ask you the question, what will Kevin Mayer have been saying at half-time, it's pretty obvious, it's more of the same.
Yeah, I think focus, concentration, don't allow your standards to drop. I mean, all of those things, you can't lose concentration for a second because we know what they offer, you know. And Pearce, we've seen Pearce on, you know, I've certainly seen Pearce over the years. He could, as a lot of good strikers do, he could be anonymous for 89 minutes and suddenly he'll pop up and he'll hurt you. So it is a case of you cannot let off for a millisecond.
Here comes Southend United now. Ollie Pearce, just the definition of goal machine. Top scorer in the top 5 leagues in English football. The nearest to him is Erling Haaland of Manchester City. Still the case today following Manchester United's win in the derby. And in fact, another question for you, Glenn. There's only 4 National League sides Ollie Pearce has not scored against. One of them,
Southend. I ain't worried about the others.
I'll tell you anyway. Solihull Moors, Woking and Morecambe. And that's a frustrating figure. One thing I am noticing, though, is a lot of low cloud over half-time has made its way across the LNER Community Stadium. There is a bit of a haze about 20 feet in the air.
Yeah, more to our left-hand side, I would say.
I think it's a crow. If you look to our right, up to the floodlights, there's some over there as well. But the players are out. Southend in their all-black kits, playing from left to right. The goalkeeper in green, York City. In their red shirts, blue shorts and white socks from right to left. The goalkeeper all in purple. Bar the change after 30 minutes for Harry Cardwell off, Slavi Spazov on. No changes for the Blues. And Dengendy in goal, the back 3 of Taylor, Gubbins and Captain Ralph. Scott Morris on the right, boys on the left. Miley in front of defence. Coker alongside Coker really, and Parallon has been a part of an attacking trio with Spazov leading it and Dallas on the right.
Yeah, this just sort of interesting to see what or if any changes are in terms of formation come from York City as well.
So York City, no changes for them. Mail in goal as Taylor clears away. Johnson, Howe the captain and Kitchen in a back 3. Gray on the right, Batty and Boateng in the midfield, Newby on the left, and Ollie on the right of an attacking trio with Stones down the middle and Pearce on the left. But it has been lucid for York City, but not very penetrative. There's only the one shot in the first half. As Batty is out to Johnson. Wants to lift it down the right wing for Ollie, but captain set for Southend, Nathan Ralph there to head it away first. Batty into the path of Stones, and now Boateng into the final third. Gray on his outside on the right wing on the far side. Ollie tries to help it into the penalty area, but no one else in red near it, and Gubbins able to lift it to Spazov, who goes down as he challenged Howe, but referee decides it's fair challenge. Both of them get off the ground, and York City will look to go down the right wing. Nathan Ralph has stayed down the entire time. York City continue. The pass is played in. It comes off Nathan Ralph into Boateng now, edge of the penalty area to shoot straight at Colin and Dengendy and Glenn Pennyfather. Whilst that move developed, Nathan Ralph stayed down the whole time, and he's still down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the referees see that or not. You know, Blues players are now obviously engaging with the referee to ask him if, you know, he should have stopped the game really. If you've got an injured player laying down in the own penalty area and the ball's already gone to the halfway line and been recycled by York City, and then they've used that as an attack, but also in the fact that Blues need to be aware of the fact that Nathan Ralph is playing everybody on side probably 20-25 metres behind them when they've gone forward. So it's kind of both ways, but thankfully nothing transpired from that. No damage done in terms of an attack on Blues goal, as the shot was straight down the throat of Colin.
Yeah, coming from Hiram Boateng. He attempted to look for his second goal of the season. Nathan Ralph, 3 appearances away from 200 for Southend United. Said earlier in the week that morale in the group is really high.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Clear to see that, really.
Yeah, sorry, Warren, I'm just wondering, with watching Batty and Boateng. Boateng was certainly the player that sat a lot more in that first half. They were pistons in and out, up and down, both of them. But Batty has started the deeper of the two in this second half. Now, whether that's something that Maynard has looked at and that's a deliberate change of tactic to get Boateng more forward, because he was certainly causing his own side a few problems, getting caught on the ball, misplacing a few passes in that first half. So getting him further forward might alleviate that problem, and probably getting Batty.
Sorry to interrupt you here, Glenn. Just want to say that Nathan Ralph is on his feet. John Gowans was wiping his face on his right side, so maybe he suspected he picked up a cut on the right side of his face as he challenged for a header, but he's up on his feet now. Sorry to interrupt, Glenn.
No, that's fine. Hopefully he's all right. But yeah, it's just saying, because I think Batty's probably better on the ball technically than Boateng, certainly what I've seen so far this afternoon. But it is certainly, that mist is coming down to our left-hand side, isn't it? But
it is.
Hopefully it won't affect the game.
There's a lingering. It seems to be coming from the north, so it makes its way from north to south. It's really more obvious in the floodlights. At pitch level, we can see everything fine. As Nathan Ralph has gone out of play on the far side of the field, Southend attacking from left to right. He does have to go off because it's a head injury, just to make sure that he's okay.
Yeah.
So Dengendy, having saved the shot from Hiram Boateng, restarts with a goal kick. Managed to find the head of Slavi Spazov, who headed into the middle of York territory, but cleared away by Howe. As Stones tries to bring a player in, Southend Scott Morris, hoofs it downfield once again. This time Batty heading out to the right where Gray is. Gubbins intercepting for Southend. Now into the feet of Leon Parallon. First time for him to get the ball at his feet in this second half. Back to Taylor. Gubbins on his left. Lifted down the left side of the field for Spazov to muscle. Gets a header onto it as well, and he's brought down by Johnson, and the referee spotted that, and he's going to reach for his pocket, and it's the first yellow card for York City. This to the Sunderland low knee Johnson.
Yeah, quite rightly so as well. Spazov's done really well. Do you know what he did just prior, 2 headers ago? He went up and he led with his arm. He didn't catch Johnson, but Johnson had a few words with him off the ball. I don't know if you see it or not, Warren.
Yeah.
But the last 2 headers, so you know what Johnson's done? He's backed off because he don't want to get whacked. And I know it's you don't want to see that in football, but what Spazov has actually done with leading with his arm in the first one, I mean not his elbow, with his arm, and it's up there to elevate you and protect you. But what he's done, he's made Johnson think. He's lost the last header, which he headed inside to Dallas, and that one he's won, gone beyond him, and Johnson's actually pulled him down. Makes people think, doesn't it, those sorts of things?
Nathan Ralph back out on the field for Southend. The free kick from the left wing on the far side. Coker to take this, aimed towards the near post, but onto the head of Batty. But Leon Parallon there first for Southend. Back to Harry Taylor, who decides safety is best. All the way back to Ndengendi. First time high down the middle of the field.
Yeah,
and Harrison Mayo will gladly take that into his grip.
That's got to go wide. That's got to stay outside the penalty area. Whatever way you look at it, I know he's got to clear it, but it's method-wise, and his distribution today, his kicking, and I don't want to tempt too much fate with Colin, but his kicking has been really, really good. Good distance, good direction. But that one, as you say, as you're coming onto it, in your mind you're thinking, I'm going to stick this in the channels. Even if you make the goalkeeper come out and deal with it, just stick it into an area where it's not clean for the goalkeeper to come and collect into his penalty area.
Colin Ndengendi, most appearances in his career against York City. For today, has only won 1 of them in 6. He's kept 2 clean sheets. Or started back at Roots Hall in August. As York City are in possession. They go back to their defence through Howe. Batty on his left. Batty's back to go along the defensive line. It's an interesting question, really. Also, with Nick Hayes departing, Glenn, means that obviously Kevin has. You've said it before on commentary. They wanted him to make a decision about the keepers, and he's gone with Colin.
Yeah.
So Colin has had a great first 51 minutes. Well, how does a goalkeeper respond to seeing if the person who competes for his number 1 spot? How do you respond to him departing?
Well, I mean, it should fill you with confidence and belief that your manager believes in you. That's the main thing. You know, it's probably more of a worry the other way round. If you make a mistake, I've got somebody breathing down my neck. However, there will be somebody, I'm sure, eventually that Kevin will bring in to challenge Colin.
York City win possession inside Southend's half. Greg Ollie carrying it to the edge of the final third. Ralph has slid in on Joe Gray, right side on outside the penalty area, and it's a yellow card for Nathan Ralph, and it'll be a free kick for the Minster men.
Yeah, it was one of those challenges, Nathan. You could see from the way he sprinted out to that left-hand side, Blues left-hand side, with the lad Gray charging on down their right-hand side. He was committed to the challenge, and Gray, you see it time and time again in football, it's a right angle coming together. Gray's charging down the right-hand side. He's got his toe to the ball. Nathan's committed to sliding into the challenge, and he's caught Gray, and quite rightly the referee gives a yellow card, and Nathan just walks away, and it's a free kick. But he is in a real dangerous area, just outside the penalty area, just outside the 18-yard box, about probably a metre in to the 18-yard box on that side. But it does give York City a real opportunity to put this Blues goal under pressure.
Yeah, Hiram Boateng standing over this. Minster men looking to respond. It will be Boateng, though he takes a pause.
Watch Newby on the edge of the box.
Yeah, Newby's outside the penalty area, as now is Gray. It's lifted, and Ndengendi has to punch it over the crossbar. It was looping down dangerously, and Ndengendi decided to go for the punch. It'd be a corner kick. It's almost like that pause from Boateng. Sort of all the defenders almost sharpen up a bit on the players around them and not think about the shot coming in.
Yeah. Good strong wrist though, wasn't it, from Colin? Still got some defending to do here.
Yeah, Daniel Batty with the corner kick from York City's left wing. It'll be right-footed to swing towards the byline.
Gray on the far post again.
Pings it across at head height, and it's Cav Miley who climbs to clear it away for Southend. It's gone lateral, so York City can play this back in. Play from right to left. It's Stones who serve, and it's straight at Ndeng Ndidi. Josh Stones had climbed highest.
Colin
Ndeng Ndidi.
Colin's hurt.
It was straight at Colin Ndeng Ndidi, who now goes down to ground. He's holding his right shoulder, and the physio's been called out.
Well, are we seeing the irony of you know what we've just been speaking about in football, the fact that you go with one goalkeeper, or is it the fact that Colin's taken the sting out of the game that we see a lot nowadays with goalkeepers, just taking the pressure off, just easing that pressure by getting John Gowans on the pitch. Let's see. Obviously we all hope Colin's going to be all right. I mean, Josh Stones won the header at the far post. He looked like he was taking a ride. I think it was Joe Gubbins. He looked like he was taking a ride on Joe Gubbins' back. Nothing was given, but he couldn't get, because of Joe Gubbins' position, he couldn't get any purchase on the header, and the only way he could was just direct it goalwards. And thankfully Colin was in a strong enough position to just collect the ball, no problem whatsoever. But
Southend United goalkeeper, and then he helped to his feet by John Gowans.
Yeah, maybe
give them an assessment.
Maybe the latter for me then. That Colin was just taking the sting out of the game.
Well, that game, 55 minutes in, York City 0, Southend United 1 here on BBC Essex. Warren Muggleton and former Blues midfielder Glenn Pennyfather at the LNER Community Stadium, which is becoming a bit more cloudy overhead. The level of the cloud now just above the scoreboard to my right. Again, we can still see the action across the field, but something to keep an eye on as Southend work the ball from the goal kick out to the right wing on this near side, and Scott Morris will launch a throw-in. We have seen him launch long throw-ins already today. Clearly not a tactic that York City buy into, despite the trend, because they haven't played a long one yet. Parallon making his run down the byline on this near wing, but Scott Morris short to Miley. As he gets it back, it's shipped over the top to Dallas. Scott Morris able to muscle away from one challenge and two. He'll put across it at the far post. It's headed away by Howe. Ralph on the follow-up with the volley with the left foot, but spinning over the crossbar into those Southend fans packed behind Harrison Mayall's goal. It'll be a goal kick, but Southend with a bit of venom in that shot.
Yeah, you could already see Chris Phillips right in the headlines, couldn't he? Nathan Ralph, as that ball dropped to him so invitingly on the edge of the box onto his favoured left foot. Just got underneath it, didn't he? I mean, he had a lot of pace and power behind the strike, but if it's not on target, it doesn't matter how hard you hit it. And unfortunately for Nathan, straight into the Blues crowd behind that goal.
Mayall's kick spinning out to the right side onto the head of Southend's Miley. Ball bounces. Parallon trying to head into the path of Boys, but York City able to intercept. Stones heading back, and Pearce, misplaced pass, and Southend Scott Morris first time. Leon Parallon's got the legs on Batty. He's on the right side of the penalty area, accelerates beyond him, will put a cross into the middle aimed at Dallas, but Callum Hoyle there to clear. And all of a sudden, Glenn, in the second half, Southend have found their attacking feet. Harrison Mayall furious with his defenders.
Yeah, I mean, they've changed slightly. You have to say that. York City have changed slightly. They're going back to front a lot quicker. They're trying to turn Blues defence around, but Blues are standing strong at the moment. And when they get the opportunity, Parallon is, I tell you what, he's matured so much over probably the space of 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 games, and he looks a real player at the moment. He's a real danger.
Scott Morris with the throw in from the right wing, headed away by the captain once again, Howe. Stones pushes away from Nathan Ralph. He goes down and Ollie is there, and all of a sudden it's 4-on-3 for York City. Got Stones out on the right side into the penalty area now. Miley trying to put him off, pushes into the byline, and Miley's done great defensive work. Dallas getting back, corner kick, and Southend tracked back quickly as York, as you said, Glenn, went from back to front at pace.
Well, at pace, and not everybody charging. The whole lot of them are sprinting forward. Now, Nathan Ralph couldn't make the challenge. That was the problem. He's just picked up the yellow card. He couldn't make that challenge then. Warren on the halfway line. He's running with a lad, and he's gone shoulder to shoulder. It wasn't a foul, and that's what allowed the counter-attack. But fantastic work by Cav Miley. Defensive midfield play, brilliant.
York City's drums banging as the corner kick is played at torso height, and Southend able to clear away. The corner kick from Hiram Boateng lacking quality from the far side. He'll get it back from Gray infield. This time the cross is lifted, but Harry Taylor for Southend clearing away. He goes to Newby, Miley on his shoulder though, and forced backwards to Gray. Noticing this, I don't think I've seen York City win a ball in the air. The ball has bounced once before they've tried to challenge for it, and Southend have snuck in and normally won the second ball more often than not. As the cross is played high from right to left, Harry Taylor again with the header away. Howe chasing this to the left corner on the near side. Newby out of his feet, right-footed cross. It's into the penalty area. Southend struggles to clear their lines, but they do now. Ollie Coker able to turn far side of the penalty area. Can Southend get on a quick counter now? Stones defending, forces Coker to turn. Plays it from left to right. Dallas had come in field though.
Yeah, it was a touch of the dad's armies then, weren't it? Don't panic, Mr. Mannarin, in the penalty area. I mean, the ball was being thrashed at by all sorts of Blues players. Eventually it fell to Ollie, who then give the ball straight back.
Newby's pass intercepted by Harry Boyes. He will drive forward. Gus Scott Morris busting along to get up alongside him. It's played out to the right side. Spazos on his own edge of the penalty area to shoot. Pushed away by Harrison Mayle, but that was on target, and that was Southend driving at pace.
Yeah.
Lost the ball on the edge of the centre circle, and now Ollie Pearce, he's got a chance to run down the left wing on this near side. Plays it across the penalty area, but no one else in red near it, and Ndengendi will gladly take that.
It was a great counter-attack, but Warren, you've got to make sure you're disciplined as well. So you can't counter-attack, invest a load of players forward when you're away from home against this side, because they can hit you on the counter-attack.
Leon Parallon to Coker to shoot from outside the penalty area, punch away by the keeper. Spazos there first, but straight at the goalkeeper and into his grasp. And all of a sudden the game has opened up on the hour. York City 0, Southend United 1. Spazov with two big chances.
Yeah, great strike by Ollie Coker. Too hot for the goalkeeper. It bounces back out to Slavy, and I thought he should have put a lot of power behind it. It was like a little side foot punch volley, and he just side footed it straight at the goalkeeper, and that opportunity went. But it's a little bit end to end. It's certainly opening up.
Joe Gray for York City in field. Back heel from Ollie Pearce, but he didn't have the run from Stones. And Ndengendi will gladly see the ball roll into his 6-yard box. He goes down, he wants the referee's attention, getting a shoulder from Josh Stones, who is cutting a frustrated figure for York City.
Well, is that allowed then? Is the referee allowing that to happen? Collins tried to move around him, and Josh Stones has...
Ansi Yakulas is the goalkeeping coach, is out with the fourth official.
Shoulder barged him, Josh Stones, and the referee's just waved it away.
That's it. I mentioned Slavy Spazov. How about the shot from Ollie Coker outside the penalty area?
It was a great strike. Great strike. It was, as I said, it was far too hot to handle for the goalkeeper.
And Ndengendi's goal kick down the middle, but by the head of York City's Johnson. Gray has it taken off his boot by Boyes, but only to Batty of York City. Into the last half hour, Southend still 1-0 up at the LNER Community Stadium here on BBC Essex Sports. Howe pushes out to Johnson over the halfway line. Led a bit of a surge for the Minster men towards the end of the first half. Here's Boateng. Room to run into. Kitchen with an overlapping run. He's into the penalty area, but he's been spotted by Boateng, but too much height on it, and it goes over the byline for a goal kick.
Well, we're now seeing a little bit from Boateng, what we see in the first half when he was sitting deeper. They've changed, haven't they? Clearly they've changed. Boateng is more or less sitting behind the front lads now, with Batty just sitting in there. But
couple of changes being prepared for Southend United. Josh Walker and Appiah Forson getting ready to come into the fray. Kick from Ndengendi.
I think we have to remember
Dallas able to poke it on, but Parallon not near. Glenn.
That Andy Dallas hasn't had a lot of football recently, has he? You know, he came back on Tuesday, and what did he have Tuesday? 70 minutes Tuesday?
Yeah.
And
has started to look a little...
Yeah, it probably the way the Blues are set up, it demands a lot of energy, it demands a lot of work. Tracking back as well, he's done lots of tracking back as well. Andy Dallas getting into those areas to stop things, stop crosses coming in and stop things happening in the wide areas when the lad from centre half has moved forward. So it doesn't surprise me if Andy Dallas is blowing a little bit.
Two changes to come for York City as well. Newby straight to Andy Dallas, but he's still got some legs. He's driving towards the centre circle, poked into Parallon, first time to Slavy Spazov, into the penalty area right side, back to Parallon first time, but miscued. Oh, has he? No, the keeper has got a glove on it, just as it gone over the byline. I think the assistant has obviously waited for a goal kick, but if Parallon had a little bit more quality with the shot, it would have been a wonderful goal.
Slavy Spazov, you're a centre forward. you're in on goal, you've got the sight of goal. He should have taken the strike on himself. I thought he didn't need to cut it back to Leon. Take the strike on. He's just hit a wonderful strike earlier on that the lad's just got his hand too low down to his right hand side. Slavy Spazov's got that opportunity. Warren, I thought we should have taken the proper goal.
The goalkeeper went short to Howe, and Kitching has to track back. There's a lot of the wispy cloud that was hanging low is starting to move away. York City 0, Southend United 1. Ralph intercepting what was an attempted incisive pass from the York City's Batty. And Southend work back to their keeper. They want to get York City running without the ball. Get them working from side to side, and Dengendy with the high balls. Spazov challenging, but ball bounces beyond him and to the feet of Johnson.
Yeah, a lot of activity going on in front of us, isn't there? Jeff King certainly one that's going to come on. Alex Hunt is the other one.
Dallas with a late challenge on Kitching. I think York City would have wanted to play on, but referees called it back for the foul. This will be the changes now.
Yeah.
Only a second foul Southend have conceded in the second half. So first changes will be for York City. Greg Ollie making way for Jeff King, who's spent majority of this season so far on loan at Boreham Wood.
Yeah.
Has been very impressive for them, knows how to get out the National League, won with Chesterfield in 2024. These substitutions coming after 65 minutes. The other substitution will be Batty for Hunt. So that's City midfielders in for Hunt, who normally plays on the right side of an attacking trio.
I was going to say it's an attacking change, isn't it, from Maynard. He's taken off his sitting midfield player in Batty. Jeff King is a right back by trade.
So Leon Parallon is sitting on the ground.
Yeah, certainly Leon Parallon, the impact he's having on this game, you certainly won't want him going off the pitch, that's for sure.
I think you made a great point earlier, actually. He seems to be just getting better and better and better over the last few. You would have thought earlier in the season, you'd have said starting him over Sam Austin was a big sign of confidence from the coaching team, but he's earning that right now. Free kick from Newby. We'll come back to that. Newby with the free kick from left to right. There's a header at the far post, and it's well wide of the goal. It was Stones again, and that one goes well wide. 4 shots on goal in the second half from York City, and the substitutions will now come for Southend United. Glenn?
Yeah, no, I just think Leon Parallon, I mean, speaking about him, I mean, I really enjoyed watching his performance on Tuesday evening, where he was definitely the difference between the two sides, on a pitch that was like, it was like a potato field, to be perfectly honest, at the end, and his ability to be able to run with the ball, as I say, be able to transfer weight from one side to the other. But it looks like he's going to come off the pitch now.
Yeah, triple changes. So Sam Austin will be on in place of Leon Parallon.
Maybe that is because he's just gone down with his injury, but he's certainly showing a maturity. His game is developing, because we know how good he is with the ball. We know he's got tricky feet, but his game is developing in terms of his reading of the game, his terms of his defensive work on when they're out of possession, his understanding of being able to get into certain areas, times when you can close down and when you can't close down, I've got to sit in shape. All of that is important as a midfield player, and added that to his natural ability, which is his ability to be able to run with the ball and beat people, is a real bonus for Southend United, and he is certainly developing. He's not the finished article by any stretch of the imagination, but he's certainly developing, and it will take time for a young lad coming out he come from Slough, didn't he?
Yeah, and he'd been with Oxford United before that as well.
International League football, and this is tough football, we know that, but he is certainly developing into a good player.
He's got some good praise from the bench. 3 substitutions for Southend United. Leon Parallon making way for Sam Austin coming into this game. Sam Austin has his first best personal record against York City, as I say, only lost twice in 10 games against the Minster men. Elsewhere, Andy Dallas off for Josh Walker coming into the game, back into the squad, having missed the last couple of games through illness. 6 goals across all competitions, and Ollie Coker has made way for Keenan Apai of Forson, who's the last. It's 2 draws and 2 losses against York, looking for his first win against the Minster men.
Yeah, fresh legs out there, isn't it? You know, Ollie missed Tuesday as well, but you know, the way Southend have set up, the way they've gone about their business today, and the game plan, it demands high energy, it demands mobility, and Kevin's just freshened it up in there. Hopefully it won't change any of the style that's within that game plan at the moment for Blues.
We'll see how it changes that shape. York City in possession inside Southend's half. Newby Infield from the left wing on this near side. Spazov staying on his shoulder. That's to poke out to Johnson. Had an option out there. They tried to work it down the right wing. Ralph clearing, and Sabi Spazov is the man nearest for Southend United. Down the left wing. He will be caught by Jeff King, the substitute. Has an overlapping run from Harry Boyes. Just a little bit miscued, and Boyes didn't get it as he was on the run. So back to Austin. Miley behind him, and Boyes with room on the left wing. Threaded to Austin, left side of the penalty area, looking to make an immediate impact. So Boyes with the first time cross from the far side. And keen to apply force and climb, but York City clear it away. Far as Joe Gubbins, launched it straight forwards again. Walker might be there, he might get the volley. He comes off Callum Howe. It takes the sting out the touch. Josh Walker's won it back in the penalty area. Can he get on his right foot? The shots deflects away, and York City survive a massive scare in Southend with a big chance for 2-0.
Well, it's great work by Josh Walker. Real good strength from him as well to keep winning the ball back. Unfortunately, just couldn't get his strike away, but got some defending to do.
Yeah, York City on the attack down this left wing. Newby again has to go backwards, but Hunt, who's sitting deeper for York City, Kitchen with the cross from this near side. No one meets it for York City. Man goes down on the far side. Referee gives the foul to Southend United. Jeff King was on the far side of the penalty area against Harry Boyes. Both challenged for the ball, and Jeff King went down, and he's given a yellow card about 5 minutes into his time here on the pitch at the LNER Community Stadium for simulation, and a free kick for the Blues. Still York City 0, Southend 1.
Look at the reaction of all their other players, Borum.
Yeah.
Look at York City's players.
Yeah.
Not taking any notice. They know what happened. Jeff King's thrown himself to the floor. Quite rightly, he's been given the yellow card. Well played, the referee. Spotted that. The worrying one was the first one. I think Josh Stone's a little nudge, just eased him under the ball, didn't he? I think it was Joe Gubbins just eased Josh Stones under the ball. It then went to the back post where Harry Boyes was just about to clear it. I don't know what Jeff King was thinking.
Stuart Maynard cutting. A figure full of frustration. Known in Essex, assistant to Dean Brennan at Billericay Town from September 2018 to January 2019. There's a goal kick. Again, the aerial battle's being won by Southend. Hiram Boateng muscled off the ball. Nathan Ralph trying to win it back. A couple of spins away. And Harry Taylor tells Ndengandi hoof that ball downfield towards the right wing. Walker wants to get underneath it. Ball bounces twice. Kitchen has no option but to keep it in and go back to his keeper Harrison Mayle. His first time high ball. Might be met by a Pia Forson, but Newby muscles him out. High ball from left to right, but onto the head of Harry Boyes, who's decided to commit to chase this, and Johnson gets there first for York City. They play it out from right to left on this near wing. Newby with encouragement from the home fans in the last 20 minutes of normal time in this game in the National League. Hunt drifting from left to right. Out to King on that yellow card for simulation. Threading it to Gray. He can put the cross in, asking Stones to take control of it. Gets a touch. Newby with the volley. Pearce on the shot for the first time. Blocked by Sam Austin inside the penalty area, and a corner kick for Southend United.
Yeah, they got a little bit fortunate, didn't it, with the ricochet, but still some defending
Corner's
to do for
been
Blues.
taken shortly. Boateng into Gray. Being pushed backwards, but Boateng wants it on his left boot. Infield. There's King. Up front, I should say. Joe Gray had stayed back. Now King with the cross. Boyes attempted to clear it first time. A little miscue as it bounces over the byline, but gets a word from Ndengandi. Another corner kick for York City.
It was probably going into Collins' arms, but however, better be safe than sorry. Harry Boyes wasn't sure, maybe didn't hear the shout. He's decided to try and clear the ball at that near post. Unfortunately, just slashed at the ball, and it's come off the outside of his boot. So still more defending to do from another York City corner.
Boateng far side. It doesn't beat a Pia Force in the first man. His header away will be volleyed by Newby onto the boot of Joe Gubbins. And Southend head away. Miley chasing this, but Joe Gray is there first for York City. Out to Stones, who's on the left wing but gets it all wrong, and Harry Taylor able to sneak into Southend. Sliding challenge over from Stones. Harry Taylor wasting time. York City on the attack again. Kitchen with the cross from left to right. Goes beyond everybody. At Southend, Sam Austin there first and decides to go for the aerial route straight to the keeper. Josh Walker's nearest to Joe Gray, Glenn.
That's where Harry Taylor, just stick it in that channel, turn them all around, get yourself up the pitch and get your shape right. He dwelled on the ball and got caught on it. Just
want to highlight a bit of great work from Josh Walker. Put off what we saw from Harry Taylor, pretty much was what Joe Gray did, and Josh Walker putting him off, and his pass was miscued forward, and Southend back in possession, looking to get control of the ball again. Walker this time, his challenge nips at the heels of Gray, a foul inside the centre circle far side, just beyond the halfway line. York City 0, Southend 1, 17 minutes to go.
Yeah, worked really hard since he's been on. Josh Walker, he's caused them all sorts of problems, not just defensively, working hard there, but a couple of times in the penalty area he's got it wriggled free, isn't he, and worked hard to get the ball. Done really well since he's been on.
Josh Walker made his debut in the 1-1 draw against York City back in August 2024. He's come off the bench here on a cold night in January. A few wispy clouds overhead. Free kick high from right to left, aimed at Kitchen's head, gets it into the middle, but onto the head of Slavi Spazov. Into a Apaya Forson down the right wing. But Hunt there ahead of Walker, the two substitutes doing battle.
Yeah, shame it wasn't one of the centre halves, because he would have beaten one of the centre halves. It was a nippy midfield player, unfortunately.
Gray might be exposed, had Slavi Spazov behind him, but I don't think he was very aware.
Yeah, I don't think Stuart Maynard was very pleased with Jeff King there, rolling that ball square, and he was under pressure.
Kitchen again back to Harrison Mail. How many lateral passes and backward passes have York City made today, Glenn?
Well, that's full credit to Southend and their shape so far after 75 minutes. Still a long way to go, but that is credit to them, the way they've set up in their organisation.
Gray to Hunt. York City in Southend territory again. Hunt with a 180. Johnson on his right, out to the far wing, on the right wing on the far side. King trying to get beyond Boys and had Gray. Pair exchanging passes in close quarters. Austin intercepting. That's a bit of a tussle, but somehow Southend not able to get the ball away. King managing to gain a couple of metres, but has to turn back into Johnson. That gets applause from the York City fans. And again, they're turning backwards, and those applause turns to groans of frustration. And Southend, as Glenn said, back into their shape. Johnson lifting towards Stones, doesn't get a clean header onto it. Gubbins gets something on it with his left boot to clear away and pushes it over the left wing for Southend on the far side. York City with the short throw. There will be a cross from the far side aimed at Pearce, but Gubbins is there once again. Spazov wanting to head on to Walker. He probably had time to take a touch and turn, Glenn, but it does mean York City back in possession.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that Slavy, he's just put his hand up. I think the satellite went out a little bit. He wasn't quite sure where he was on the pitch.
Newby taking on Scott Morris. Had King infield. Crossing to the left corner. Clearing header, falling to Newby. Had Stones on the right side of the penalty area. Shoots, but blocked by Gubbins. Ball falls to the right side of the penalty area. Back to King. He'll cross into the middle. Pearce can't head it. I think it was Harry Taylor with the header. Apaya Forson's there first for Southend, and the Blues could get a counter going if they wanted to. Exchanges between Spazov and Apaya Forson. Lovely body movement from Apaya Forson to create space. Scott Morris down the line to Spazov.
Well done.
And it takes a touch from Hunt. Really well managed, that, Glenn.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because they needed a runner, and unfortunately Josh Walker was the other side of the pitch. They needed a runner in that channel beyond, and they had a look a couple of times, but they couldn't put it in there, so they just give possession back to York City. But they worked the ball really well, and eventually they make the City defender just toe poke it out for a throw-in, and Gus Scott Morris can eke a few seconds.
I'm looking at Cav Miley, Glenn. He's been puffing his cheeks out as he made his way forward. I think I've seen James Morton warming up, and I just worry about his fitness. It does leave a hole, but a tackle from Boys, it did leave it for Miley, but it's a foul on the edge of the centre circle instead. Josh Stones of York City going down temporarily.
Yeah, it was a foul by Cav. Cav knew it was a foul. As you say, he's just hands on his hips now. You know, it might well need fresh legs as quick as possible, because Cav is one of those unsung hero type performances where he's been disciplined, he's sat in there, he's broken up a lot of plays, intercepted things, he's tracked runners when he's needed to, but now it probably does need, as you rightly say, probably some fresh legs in there just for these last 12 minutes or so, plus whatever the referee's going to add on.
Yeah, still York City 0, Southend United 1. York City starting to knock on the door. Kitchen trying to take on Scott Morris. Infield to Hunt. Jeff King on his outside. Again, a cross goes in. Gubbins with the header. It won't go across the byline because Scott Morris is there. Buys it down the right wing for Walker to chase. But Hunt with a controlled, confident header to York City's Newby. Out to the left wing. King again. To Pearce, edge of the penalty area. Harry Taylor muscles him off the ball.
Brilliant Harry Taylor.
And he wins the foul.
Yeah, he caught in Pearce after he'd won the ball off of him. Great defending, just biding your time. That's the one where you don't go in, so he's had the ball wrapped into his feet, Ollie Pearce, on the edge of the penalty area. As a defender, it's so tempting to go and make the challenge straight away. He's allowed Pearce to have a loose first touch, not a dreadful first touch, a loose one, and then he nicks the ball off of him. And as he nicks it, Pearce, on trying to get his second touch, brings him down. It's wonderful defending by Harry Taylor on the edge of his own penalty area.
And Dengendy with the kick, spins towards the right onto the head of Callum Howe, the York City captain. Bayram Boateng first for York City to Jeff King. With Austin on his shoulder. But there's room now made for Hunt to turn into the centre circle to Kitchen on his left. The former Latics man who helped Oldham Athletic to playoff promotion against the Blues in June. 11 minutes left. York City 0, Southend United 1 here on BBC Essex Sport. And Howe again has to go back, Glenn, to his keeper. Mail. He's well out of his penalty area. And York City, they're trying to put it in the air as often as they can. Push it out wide and try and get it onto the head of Stones or Pearce. Kitching on this left side, midway through Southend territory. As Newby will always look to come in field onto his right boot. Plays it into the middle to Jeff King. Out to the right side with Joe Gray. Up against Boys, outside the penalty area. First time cross from Gray at the far post. Kitchen's on his own, but Gus Scott Morris was able to cover it. It comes off the back of his head over the byline, and it will be a corner kick for York City.
Yeah, as one of them as a defender, you have to follow it. You can't think that's going to run out of play. I've got to deal with it. And Gus Scott Morris had to traverse. He had to move his feet really quick. So he's in the middle of goals. He's had to move his feet really quickly from the middle to the back post and get that flicked header, because Kitchen was coming in at that far post. I'm quite surprised that Blues haven't got somebody ready.
Jeff King with the corner kick from left to right. Nathan Ralph meeting it. So Josh Walker gets to the follow-up. And they've given a foul away. Josh Walker, he was in the air as he won it, and the referee believes that he's clattered into the side of Newby, who's challenging for the ball. It's a yellow card for Josh Walker, third of the game for Southend United.
Referee. He's done some really good things this evening, and then he lets himself down with that. It's a 50-50 ball. They're both challenging it for it. Josh Walker, for me, has just been stronger than Newby. He wanted it more than Newby. Newby's gone to ground, and the referee's ball. In fact, he can't see what's going on. He's looking at the back of both of those players. Yeah, as Josh Walker's saying to Newby, you're ducking down as I'm going to win the ball, and he's bouncing. The referee's given him a real opportunity here. A real opportunity. What are we talking? 2-3 metres outside of the 18-yard box. Yeah, edge of the D, just to the left of this, slightly left of centre. But it's a real opportunity. You've got Boateng.
I saw Ollie Pearce standing over the ball, and we wouldn't blame him for wanting to have a go, but he stood aside because Alex Hunt, 5 goals this season, standing over it with the right foot. Hiram Boateng, left-footed player, also standing nearby.
Yeah, you've got Boateng and Hunt, the substitute.
Hunt player.
And obviously
been with the club since 2024, formerly at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yep, one right foot or one left. Boateng on his left foot, Hunt on his right. Pearce, look, he's interested down the side of the wall.
Who will it be? That's the question. It's Hunt to step up right-footed and aim for the top left corner, but it's over the crossbar, and the danger fizzles away like the clouds fizzing away above us as we have a clear evening once again. York City 0, Southend United 1.
You get nothing for an ooh. And that's what you get from the crowd when something like that happens. Ooh. Get nothing for that, Warren.
Sound effects and all on BBC Essex.
Over the top of the bar.
And Dengendy with the goal kick. This one does spin out to the right wing. And Kitchen will guide that out of play, and he goes straight back to his goalkeeper. The Southend United fans, one or two of them enjoying themselves, but I think there's a lot of nerves in that north stand. Gubbins once again winning a header for Southend. But it's to York's Kitchen. Back to Howe. Has Harrison Mayle to his left. He's outside the penalty area. Mayle, the goalkeeper, well outside his penalty area to be involved in the play.
Looks like, I've just been watching Cav while he was talking there. It looks like he's got a second wind. He's mobile enough, Cav.
Yeah, well, we've seen enough of it, haven't we, from him.
There you go. That's what Cav does.
Jones.
Yeah.
But Cav Miley's tackle. Jeff King infield. Back to Hunt. Little exchange between the two substitutes. The only two substitutes for York City, while Southend have made 3. 7 minutes left. York City 0, Southend United 1. Attempt to put into Kitchen, but intercepted by Miley again. Riding high on that second wind. Comes to Boateng, edge of the penalty area. Taylor forces him backwards, but it's still York City possession. Newby taking on Scott Morris. Cuts in field. Boateng's into the left side of the penalty area, but it's out of play. Referee decides it's a corner kick. He says it's off Joe Gubbins, and it'll be another corner kick for York City.
Well, that didn't look like off Joe Gubbins either. It looks like the referee's giving York all the opportunities that they can get another corner. In Boateng, he stood up Joe Gubbins like he should do in that defensive situation. It looked like Boateng completely miscued the ball and hit it into the side netting.
I thought he did. It's a 6th corner kick of this second half for York City, and it's Jeff King to take on this left corner on this near side, right-footed to swing towards the goal. A packed out south stand in front of him, aimed at the far post, and Dengendy with a monstrous punch away from the penalty area.
Brilliant punch from Colin.
Gray picks it up for the Minster men. Cross from right to left. Howe wins the header but can't get it clean. King picks it up left side of the penalty area. Wants to get beyond Boys. Ball loops but into Ndengendi, who collapses on the ground. And like a clam protecting its pearl, folds over the ball. And James Morton is getting ready to enter the game. Ndengendi will find the head of Slavi Spazov. Help to Walker, but just under his legs, and he'll fall kind of to Boateng of York City, but Newby falls back into his own half. Less than 5 minutes left here on BBC Essex Sport. We're on air until 8 o'clock. 81333 on text, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start with the word Essex. 4 minutes left at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 in the Premier League. All those goals on Match of the Day later, of course.
It was 0-0.
Still 0-0, yeah. Cross into the middle, and it's Josh Stone's first shot on target from him, and it's straight at Ndengendi. Header pretty much on the penalty spot, and it was looping but with no real power, and Ndengendi able to save. I can sense Glenn Pennyfather's nerves next to me.
I just think Sam Austin had a touch it. I mean, he's just gone to.
He's made
the ball.
He's really done. He's done a lot of defensive.
Yeah. Well, they've had to do over these last 10 minutes or so.
Johnson from the right centre back position onto the edge of the final third in Southend's half. Into King, across to Pearce. There's a deflection and it's in. York City break the Southend United resistance. And of all the men in the Minster men's team, it was going to be Ollie Pearce, the runaway top scorer in the top 5 leagues of English football. He's been a ghost in this game, but he's haunted Southend with 4 minutes to go. York City 1, Southend United 1.
That's what them sort of players do. I mentioned it earlier on, Warren, the fact that they can be anonymous for the vast majority of the game, and when an opportunity, they're Johnny on the spot. Those type of players are in that position. If the ball comes in there, they've anticipated where the ball's going, so they're always in that position to finish. He's got a bit fortuitous with the ricochet that helps it over Colin, because Colin, I think, would have saved. He didn't get a lot behind the strike. Colin had already dived for the shot and he's taken the ricochet and just lifted it over him. However, you know, it's a bitter pill to swallow, because it's something that they probably don't deserve, because they clearly haven't created a lot tonight, and it's something that Blues don't deserve either.
Ollie Pearce adding another National League team to his tally that he scored against in Southend United, his first ever goal against the Blues. And the game all of a sudden has a real change in tone, and Southend United with backs to the wall. York City 1, Southend United 1. 3 minutes of normal time left. Southend wanted a handball as the clearance was made. And all of a sudden, the York City fans all around me on their feet, as darkness continues to descend York City rising under their floodlights. Newby into the middle, went straight to Sam Austin. Gus Scott Morris on the run. Apia Forson picks it up into Scott Morris. He'll take on Hunt. Wants to cut inside him, running around him. But have Apia Forson on the outside. Into Apia Forson now. But put the cross into the middle. It takes the block and it will be a throw-in for Southend United. Is there a late second win for the Blues at 1-1?
Yeah, good counter from Blues, wasn't it? Good pace shown by Gus Scott Morris and Keenan and Apia Forson. I think he should have used probably Keenan as a decoy, then didn't. I thought we could have whipped it in. Blues had a couple of players charging into the penalty area, as we're going to see another change late in the game from York.
Ben Brooks, a left back, formerly of Basildon United and # and Chelmsford City. But Scott Morris with the ball in his hands for the throw-in, down the line into Sam Austin, into Apia Forson's first time cross, a header from Joe Gubbins at the near post, but it's wide of the goal and it'll be a goal kick as we tick into the last minute at the LNER Community Stadium. York City 1, Southend 1, and we'll find out how much stoppage time we're going to get. You can feel the atmosphere here, Glenn.
Yeah.
It has been a proper National League tug of war.
Yeah, you may be thinking getting the substitution on because it adds a little bit more time on as well, Warren. I think managers and coaches think about that, you know, especially late in the stage, and you think you've got the opportunity to go and win the game. We'll just put a sub on late on, and it adds a little bit more time that the referee's got to put on. Mayall's
goal kick met by Ralph, but it was Gray at the follow-up. The pass down the right wing intercepted by James Morton. Threads it into Spazov, lovely touch outside the boot into Harry Boyes, and it's 4-on-3 for Southend. Into Slavi Spazov, just goes beyond him, and Josh Walker can't get there, and it's cleared away by York City. And all of a sudden Pearce can thread it in, but Joe Gubbins intercepting for Southend. He's been man-mountainous in that defence today. 5 minutes of added time, 5 more minutes in this National League battle. Hiram Boateng pulled down Apia Forson. It's been missed by the referee, but Southend still in possession. Walker driving away from the centre circle, down the middle of the field, puts it into the penalty area. Scott Morris is there. It's across the goal line and across, and it's wide of the mark. It needed a touch. That's from Slavi Spazov at the far post, and that would have been the winner for Southend. It's still 4.5 minutes, but that was huge for Southend United. Still 1-1.
What a fantastic move down the right hand side. It opened up as Josh Walker won the ball originally just inside the York City half, and there was an exchange of passes, and in the end it ends up with Gus Scott Morris down in the right channel inside the penalty area. I thought he was going to strike. He's pulled the ball across the 6-yard box to the far post, and the sliding in Slavi Spazov unfortunately just couldn't get a contact on it, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Inches away from getting back in front. Attendance has been out 7,114 with 863 travelling Southend United fans. York City on the edge of Southend's final third. Kitchen has the substitute Ben Brooks on his outside, the cross, and Dengendies hesitated, but Gubbins with the clearing header and Boyes ensuring that it goes away. Howe takes it under control and backwards. The substitution, Alex Newby off for York City with Ben Brooks coming on. Josh Walker conceding the foul on Zach Johnson, just held onto his shirt inside the York City half. 3.5 minutes left, still 1-1 between York City and Southend. The Minster men mounting pressure as Southend look to stand strong in this medieval city. Siege mentality. Gray and King combine. Gray able to get the run on Austin, but has to turn round again. And York City on the edge of Southend's final third. Cross out to the far post. Kitchen with the header. And a foul's been conceded. They're shoving the back of Scott Morris, so Southend with the free kick, and they can eat away at those seconds, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the referees see there. There was a coming together of 4 players. How he determined it was a push in the back, I don't know. I mean, Southend United take it all day long.
York City, man of the match.
A goal kick from Colin and Dengendy. Josh Stones for York City being awarded the man of the match for the home team.
Who's picking the man of the match?
Who would you give it to, Glenn?
Well, it's certainly... Well, I wouldn't pick a York player.
No.
I wouldn't pick a York... If they've got to pick a York player, it's certainly not Josh Stones. Not for me. I mean, the lad that's come on has done as good as anybody in their side. Hunt. Stones.
Back to Hunt. Just over 2 minutes left of stoppage time. Locked at 1-1. King won't get beyond Boyes. But back to Hunt. Forson ensuring there's no overlapping run. Wants to go in for the tackle and force Hunt backwards. Hunt threading into Pearce, he's right side of the penalty area. Southend want an offside. The cross takes a deflection, is controlled in the penalty area, and the shot from Joe Gray was blocked by Harry Taylor and spins over the byline, but it's a corner kick for York City. Is there one more twist in the tail?
Wonderful block, wasn't it, from Harry Taylor? The ball somehow ended up at the feet of the York City player in the penalty area, and time seemed to stand still for a second, didn't it, until the shot come in and Harry Taylor just threw his body in front of it, ricochets over the crossbar and out for this corner.
Hunt to take the corner kick, left-footed from the right corner on the far side. Goes towards the near post. Scott Morris with the header. The set pieces have been poor from York City today.
Yeah, I think,
the follow-up for Gray, and this time it's Taylor, it's up in the air. Not cleared. Out to the penalty area on the far side, into the last minute of stoppage time. York City 1, Southend 1. It's played back to Hunt. Into the middle. Brooks. Puts the cross out to the far side. Again, it's cleared. This time Spazov. Southend holding on to this point. Gray. Out to the far side. There's a cut inside from King. Once and again. James Morton in his way. Out to Gray. It's close quarters, but York City still in possession, trying to make room. It spins away and Joe Gubbins will put that into the air. 30 seconds left. Brooks heads this back towards the penalty area. Southend want the offside. They won't get it. Pearce puts this into the penalty area. James Morton furious, but it will be a corner kick for York City. The stands echo. The fans are on their feet. Tension palpable in the cold January sky of Yorkshire. Corner from the right wing on the far side. And towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Spazov is there, not quite cleared away. It is now. Harry Taylor's there for Southend. He wants options. Forson sprinting down the wing. Harry Taylor cutting inside. He needs to get it away. He wins the foul from Kitching. He goes down in his own half. We're into 20 seconds, over 5 minutes. Yellow card for Ben Brooks, the substitute. Maybe Southend can ping one more chance. Glenn Pennyfather.
Yeah, I think that was Kitchen that got the yellow card. It was the three that brought Taylor down. But there was a breakaway on that far side, wasn't there? There was probably three lads making a counter-attack on the far side. I don't know why the referee's making a big song and dance about making Scott Morris go back 5 yards, because I'd imagine he's going to play the ball forward and he's going to blow the whistle anyway.
I beg your pardon, Kitchen, you are right. Kitchen with the yellow card.
Yeah, it was a three.
So 3 apiece. And Southend play it short between Taylor and Scott Morris, who fires it towards the left corner on the far side. York City clearing in the full-time whistle blows, and a quite enthralling National League battle comes to an end, and it's all square. York City 1, Southend United 1. The Blues, a superb performance today, getting the goal after the half hour through Harry Cardwell's header, his first league goal for the Blues in 17 months, but had to come off injured in the celebrations against a York side that really did not come forwards, but that changed in the second half. 9 shots they had on goal, 8 corner kicks. They couldn't make them count. With 4 minutes to go, Ollie Pearce, the goal machine in the National League, scoring his first ever goal against Southend United to level things up. And my goodness, Southend had to hold on at the end, but they did, and they take a point. They still have to wait for a first win against a top 6 side, but this feels like a very significant moment for Southend United's season. York City 1, Southend United 1. Glenn, while Southend aren't taking the 3 points, that's one of the best performances we've seen from them this season.
Yeah, no, it was a wonderful performance. It was a really strong team performance, full of character, full of desire, full of energy. I mean, they had some real control in that first half. They frustrated the life out of York City, who have been free scoring, as we've said on a number of occasions, and it made them change their game plan. Second half, they went back to front a lot quicker. They moved Boateng forward, who was causing all sorts of problems, as were the centre halves, who all thought they could play. But Blues' game plan was spot on. Their shape was great. Their organisation, their discipline was brilliant. They've been undone by, the best goal scorer in the top 5 leagues, as you're saying at the moment. A man that scores goals for fun, who does intuitively, he gets in those positions, he anticipates it, and when that ball's come in, he hasn't had a sniff at goal, and suddenly he gets the strike and he gets the ricochet and he gets the equaliser for York City. But Blues can be really proud, and those fans behind the goal, I'm sure the 863 fans that have come up here and packed away that terrace behind the goal away to our right hand side, can be rightfully proud of that performance this afternoon, because it had everything you want from an away performance. It had real sort of grit, determination. I think you mentioned siege mentality at one stage, where it's you against the whole of York City that seemed to be in here, and they was fantastic. They stood up to that, and they've gone toe to toe with the side that everybody believes will win the league this year. And I tell you what, if you sit down and analyse this game in the cold light of day, I can count. Leon hit the crossbar early doors. Andy Dallas should score near post. Remember, in the first half, Slavy's had come on and had 2 chances where he possibly could have done better. Josh Walker 2 strikes where he never really got them away. And really, if you look at the chances, how many saves Collins had to make, it's not many, and he gets done by a ricochet. There'll be a disappointment when they analyse it afterwards and they reflect on that performance. If only we could have got that second goal. Slavy's was probably the best chance, and with Andy Dallas in the first half. Blues could have been 2-3-0 up in this game, Warren, and York City could have been out of the game. But while it's 1-0, you always run the risk of that. And you knew York City, that's why they're the side they are. That's why they're scoring all those goals, and that's why they're being touted as the side that are going to win this league. Because, of course, they're going to put you under pressure, and they did that with Blues. But I tell you what, there was absolutely some fantastic performances out there today. Some real heroes for Southend United on both sides of it, defensively and on the attacking side of things. And as I say, everybody associated with Southend United should be really proud of that performance tonight.
Beaming pride from the travelling fans in that north end as they applaud the players who went over before going down the tunnel. Glenn Pennyfather, thank you as always. Victoria Polly's on air until 8 o'clock. Get your thoughts in on X at BBC Essex Sport, or text 81333 or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your message with the word Essex. At the Jorvik Viking Centre in the centre of this historic city, among the 40,000 Viking artefacts they found was a strategy board game called Nefertafel, a game requiring strategy, moves and deception, and at moment times of instinctive attack. We've seen all of that today at the LNER Community Stadium. The Southend United almost pulling off a siege of the season. Full time at the LNER Community Stadium. York City 1, Southend United 1.
BBC Essex.
Get all your news, sport, weather and travel updates for Essex every 30 minutes throughout the day.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Essex.
Heading back into the county, through the Dartford tunnels, you're going to find delays there due to an earlier broken down vehicle.
A man from Rayleigh's been formally recognised as a world record holder for growing the tallest artichoke plant.
Thanks for listening to BBC Essex on your smart speaker. Good to have you with us.
Get all your news, sport, weather and travel updates for Essex every 30 minutes throughout the day.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Essex.
BBC Essex Sport.
What a game that was. 29 minutes to 8. Victoria Polly with you on BBC Essex Sport until 8 o'clock this evening. So a 1-1 draw for Southend United at York City, just pegged back in the 87th minute with that Ollie Pearce equaliser. Harry Cardwell putting Blues ahead in the first half. And what a good performance against one of the top sides in the division. 81333 on the text to get in touch. And you can WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start those messages with the word Essex. We'll get reaction to that, and we'll round up everything that's been happening in the county across the day.
BBC Essex Sport.
Good evening to you from Victoria Polly into the last half an hour of our extended BBC Essex Sport, where Southend United have battled and got themselves a point at York City.
Andy Dallas has spotted Harry Boys on the left wing in the final third. It's Parallon who's shooting off the crossbar. Leon Parallon with the first big chance of the game, looking to score in consecutive games, found inside the penalty area, touch off his toe, then managed to get the shot away. It might even have been a save by Harrison Mail to put it onto the crossbar. Cardwell keeps it alive. Boys with the Pope's volley. Saved by the keeper. Dallas on the follow-up off the bottom of the left hook right and away from Mail and cleared away. And Dallas must be confounded at how that hasn't found the back of the net. And another big chance for Southend United. Dallas on the right wing has an overlapping run from Scott Morris. Plays it to him right side of the penalty area. Plays the cross into Cardwell. 1-0 Southend United.
Wonderful move.
York City stood still and Southend United surged forward, and Harry Cardwell scores his first league goal for the Blues in 17 months. As he gets it back, it's shipped over the top to Dallas. Scott Morris able to muscle away from one challenge and two. He'll put a cross in at the far post. It's headed away by Howe. Ralph on the follow-up with the volley.